guest of today's inaugural ceremony of the 13th International Conference is Sri Shekhar Dutt, retired IAS, former Governor of Chhattisgarh. Sri Shekhar Dutt started his career in 1967 as an Indian Army officer and was awarded Sena Medal for gallantry in the 1971 Indo-Pak War. He then joined the Indian Administrative Service in the MP cadre. As Director Irrigation and Power in the Government of MP, he was involved in modernizing thermal power generation and distribution systems and also setting up many small and micro-hydel power generation projects. Sir was also the Director Command Area Development in the Government of India, handling maximization of irrigation and power production and distribution of all major irrigation dams of the country. Sir was Managing Director of MP Dairy Federation in the late 1980s when he increased the milk and milk product marketing many folds, bringing the same into a leading dairy production hub. He also assisted Dr. Kurian in setting up the National Dairy Technology Development Mission. He was also in the board of National Cooperative Dairy Federation of India and Institute of Rural Management, Ahmedabad during this period. As Principal Secretary of School Education, Sports and Youth Affairs and of Tribal Development Departments in MP, he introduced the Education Guarantee Scheme and the Shiksha Karmi Bharti Niyam, which helped in universalizing elementary education. During his tenure, he introduced large-scale teachers' education and training through the distant learning, teaching and learning mode using ISRO satellites. Earlier, as a Joint Secretary, Defence Production in the Ministry of Defence, Sir was in the Board of Directors of 6 defence companies. During this time, he was involved in setting up a large number of new projects like manufacture of tanks at Avadi, engine factory at Chennai, BMP-2 factory at Meda, factory of ammunition of 155 mm guns at Barmal, Odisha, Ordnance Electronic Factory at Dehradun, and INSAS Rifle Project of Ordnance Factories at Kolkata and Kanpur. During this period, he was also in the board of Bharat Electronics Limited, Bangalore, Bharat Earth Movers Limited, Bangalore, Bharat Dynamics Limited at Hyderabad, Mazagaon Dock Limited, Mumbai, Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers, Kolkata, and Goa Shipyard, Goa, of which he was also the chairman for some time. During this period, he initiated the production of cutting-edge electronic equipments like radars and more than 17 modern warships. In the central government, as the Director General of Sports Authority of India, Sir organized the necessary training and coaching of Indian national team, enabling India to win the highest ever 69 medals in the Manchester Commonwealth Games 2002. In the Asian Games at Busan, the Indian tally of medals was its highest ever in the Asian Games. He also organized successfully the Afro-Asian Games at Hyderabad, which was the first ever intercontinental games. As Secretary in the Ministry of Health, he set up the National Institute of Siddha at Chennai, the National Institute of Unani Medicine at Bangalore, and the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library for digitally storing the traditional knowledge of Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani medicinal systems. He worked as Secretary Defence Production, where he was responsible for overseeing and felicitating production of various land, sea, and air systems. As Defence Secretary of India, he initiated a number of measures towards increasing the pace of modernization as well as bringing about greater probability in defence procurement. He was instrumental in concluding the new Indo-US framework for defence relationship in 2005. This opened up Indo-US defining the Charter of Indo-German as well as Indo-Japan and also Indo-Australian defence cooperation, all three of which were new treaties. After retirement, Sir became Deputy National Security Advisor in the PM office from August 2007 to Jan 2010, where he looked after the issues concerning all the aspects of strategic defense as well as related aspects of national security. Sir assumed the office of the Governor of Chhattisgarh in Jan 2010 and was the Chancellor of 11 state universities and visitor of 6 private universities. Sir was instrumental in setting up the National Center for Natural Resources in Ravi Shankar University, Raipur, with the help of Dept of Science and Technology, Government of India. Sir was conferred with the degree of Doctor of Sciences honoris causa by the University of Engineering and Management, Kolkata in 2017. He was awarded with the Honorary Doctorate of Letters and named as the Honorary Fellow of the Swansea University, UK in 2018. He was given the Honorary Fellowship of the Institution of Engineers in December 2011. The Paul Appleby Award for 2016 was conferred upon him for distinguished services to public administration by IIPA. He was conferred with the Lifetime Achievement Award by the International Congress of Ethnopharmacology in 2018 at Dhaka, Bangladesh. He also served as the Board of Governors of DeSales University, USA from 2008 to 2010. Sir has authored books such as Reflections on Contemporary India and India's Defence and National Security. Sir has also authored a number of articles on national security development and solar power in various journals and compilations. At present, he is the Member Executive Council of the Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi, member of the Advisory Board of the Centre for Joint Warfare, Ministry of Defence, Government of India, Director General Solar Power Developers Association, member of the Governing Board of the University of Engineering and Management, Kolkata, member of the Central Board of Harijan Sevak Sangh, member of Advisory Board of Society for Ethnopharmacology, Chairman National Advisory Council of Indian Association for the Study of Traditional Asian Medicine, and patron Global Counter-Terrorism Council. We are very highly honoured to have you amongst us today, sir. I request our Vice Chairman, sir, to welcome our chief guest with his applause. I request our chief guest, Shri Shekhar Dutt, to enlighten us with his words of wisdom. Please, sir.
Honorable Sri Anirudh Jindal ji, Vice Chairman of this prestigious college, Honorable Professor Sharma ji, the Vinay ji, and all people sitting in the dais. Also this lady who introduced about the conference and about everybody who's participating in this. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be in this gathering, in this hall. And first I must congratulate and compliment the designers of this auditorium, because it doesn't have any echo. Many times when you go into an auditorium and you can not hear your own whatever you are saying, and of course can't hear others because of very bad acoustics. Acoustics is a sound of is a science of sound, and it has to be carefully designed. So this hall is designed for this purpose, and I'm sure that everybody is able to hear. The last live, people can hear everything and clearly, and that is the thing. So we have to be accurate, we have to be faultless. There is no scope for anything irrespective. Either you get 1 or you get 0. It's binary. And success in life is binary. There is no scope. You know, I fought a war and firstly, when I was in class 12, India lost a war very badly, 1962. And there was this gentleman called Frank Maurice, who was the editor-in-chief of Indian Express then. Mr. Frank Maurice wrote a center-page article in Indian Express that no time for panic. Many others would have said that, oh, government is responsible, army is responsible, this man is responsible, we lost. In Hindi, chhati peetne lagte. Frank Maurice said, no time for panic. Don't waste your time in panicking and accusing somebody कि उसने ये नहीं किया, उसने ये नहीं किया. He said that prepare for war, prepare for winning the next war. And war, ladies and gentlemen, is basically again another sector of activity where either you get 0 or you get 1. You lose or win. There is no in between. There is no silver medal. I was also in the Sports Authority of India for 3 years, and I enjoyed training our people. So much so that before 2002, our maximum haul in any major games was 25 medals. And in 2002 Commonwealth Games at Manchester, we got 69 medals, which unfortunately is still not being broken. 2002 को जो हमने achieve किया था उसको टूटा नहीं है. We have to, you know, because England, Canada and Australia are already far. And what is Australia's population? Australia's population is less than Delhi. उसका medals tally हमसे ज़्यादा है. How is it? 0 and 1. You know, if you don't have the medals, again you get 0. But medals में भी gold, silver और bronze है. War में नहीं है. So Frank Maurice wrote this article called "No Time for Panic." I was in the school, so I somehow got to read this, and I wrote a letter to the editor saying that yes, no time for panic is right and we must prepare. तो मैंने उस समय पे suggest किया था कि both equipment and training होनी चाहिए. And we must, for equipment we require funds. So I suggested that every envelope that Indians buy, Indians should be charged 5 paisa stamp extra. And 5 paisa on the way, you know. So if we do that, we will be able to have 25 crores or 75 crores, something like that. And in 6 years or 5 years, we can have 625 crores, which will be good enough. Which will be good for equipping Indian forces. And next war we should win. So that was 1962 October. And 1967, I joined the Indian Army as an officer. And 1971, I was fighting the war, and I was on the first tank from which went inside Pakistan, Sindh, in As a forward observation officer, my eyes were supposed to find Pakistani targets and then get artillery fire or air force fire on them. Anyway, what I am saying is कि ये सारा कुछ किया in 71 war we won in 13 days. Now you consider India and Pakistan at that time, the comparison of India and Pakistan, India this much and Pakistan that much, was not in comparison or not equal to what Russia is today and what Ukraine is today. Ukraine is a very powerful country, no doubt, lekin is not a patch before Russia. But Russia has not been able to win the war. हम लोगों ने war 13 दिन में जीता था. And that is the thing, again, because I am saying binary. Life, there are a lot of choices. And many of these choices, if we are able to see the binariness of the choices, then we can aim to win. जो भी करें जीते. You know, you manufacture this. अगर बिकी नहीं तो क्या फायदा? बेचना है. Have to sell. Mr. Jindal was talking about marketing. Now, one of the things which I want to just bring it to give a comparison. You watch TV, Indian TV. Lot of time is spent on advertisement. But one of the advertisement which comes pretty often, and also is a good quality advertisement, is a chap, thin fellow with a very nice pagdi, and it comes in almost all the channels. Gentleman, Masheji, who died unfortunately, but at the age of 95 or so. But वो आते हैं वही बिल्कुल, you know, and he comes and he brings a kind of a benevolent look, and you feel like he can come masala खा के देखते हैं. No Indian food is without any masala. So masala is something which goes in every cooking that we do. Breakfast, lunch, tea or snacks और पकोड़े भी बनते हैं, उसमें भी मसाले पड़ते हैं और डिनर. तो मसाले के बिना इंडियन फूड की जिंदगी नहीं है. एंड येट उसको इट इज रब्ड इन कि मसाला खाओगे लेकिन मांशिए भी हड्डी की मसाला का मसाला. Don't leave everything to chance. And therefore, MDH is on top. Now, these are the kind of things, you know. I was introduced also as I started Indo-US framework for defense. So immediately when I finished the Indo-US, तो सारे world खुल गया, because lot of countries were waiting for US to clear of India. Because उससे पहले हम लोग ईरान, सूडान और इन countries के साथ में bracketed थे. We were the pariah countries. Because as far as US is concerned, we were closer to the Soviet bloc. तो हम लोग pariah थे, हम लोगों को टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं मिलती थी. The moment USA cleared it, and USA is an intensely democratic country, so this clearance was cleared or accepted by the US House of Congress, that means Parliament, that means people, तो खुल गया रास्ता. So we had Indo-Germany immediately and Indo-Japan after that, and Indo-Australia was for Indo-German, Indo-Japan, I had to go to those countries and negotiate. But Australians came here and we finished the negotiations in the Hyderabad house in Delhi. Now, Japan के साथ में US government itself had said that you tie up with doing knowledge sharing with Japan. Because only with Japan, USA has 50-50% of knowledge sharing. Other countries, USA has got far more percent. Because USA में ज़्यादा research होता है उसमें नहीं. Only Japan has got equal share. So the Japanese also must have been told by the US. So when I went to Japan, they took me to a company called IHS, and they repair or do overhauling of engines, aircraft engines. So Boeing, Airbus, and all the aircraft engines are overhauled or repaired. And it was very good to see Japan doing these kind of things. You know, that company at that time, like 2005, was a $15 billion company, world's largest company for aircraft engine overhaul. So that is what I want to tell. कि by doing this, Japan ने अपना इरादा ऊपर रखा and their quality of service was so good that they became a $15 billion. अभी तो मेरे ख्याल से $30 billion होगा. Even Indian aircrafts go over there to get overhauled, and because they do, Japan know every intricate bit about engine, aircraft engine, which is the most difficult. You know, aircraft engine has got thousands of parts and so complicated parts because from basically what does the engine do? It takes the energy and puts it into such a method by which the energy multiplies so much that the thrust itself is millions of pounds of thrust. It can shake the air. After all, this is the power of the aircraft engines. तो वो एक छोटे से स्पेस में इतना पावर बना सकते हैं. So it's a different kind of a thing. So what I want to tell is Japan or the Japanese company made so much of money by doing just one thing, and that is overhaul of engine. So a good company will ensure that by its efficiency it can earn enormous money from an aircraft after aircraft from all over the world will come there and get overhauled. And when I said that I didn't know of this company, they said, "Oh, see the numbers of aircraft engines from India. You know, Jet Airways, Air India, दुनिया भर के हमारे जो engines हैं वो वहाँ जाते हैं. We don't know." What I'm saying about this, you can have any amount of these kind of examples, from RCD to aircraft engines to Lockheed Martin or Boeing or to medicine. I was talking with Jindal ji that pharmaceutical industry, though it is considered to be, okay, every day we require aspirin or every day we require some medicine or the other, so ठीक है, आम बात है, but आम नहीं है. Pharmaceutical industry in USA is the most powerful group of industries. Many US presidents have been made or marred because of pharmaceutical industries. It has got more lobbies than any other industry. And I, because of my negotiations with the Indo-American framework, in that spell I went to USA a number of times. Our present foreign minister was in my team, and we used to open an Indian office in a hotel opposite the White House, and we had very intense discussions. But Washington is dominated by pharmaceutical industries lobby. So at least 90 members of parliament, or that is House of Congress or Senate, are supported by the pharmaceutical industry. Why? Because many times I innocuous questions, say somebody's, I know, sister-in-law was having a cancer, bad cancer. तो मैंने कहा नहीं, तो क्या उसको वहाँ पे इलाज के लिए बोला कि नहीं? The doctor has said this medicine is the latest medicine. So उसको मैं यहाँ पे one of the common ये medicinal form इंडिया का क्या है, नोबेल नहीं, एनीवे याद आएगा, वहाँ पे बता देते हैं, तो वो यूरोप से या अमेरिका से मंगवा देते हैं, पर टुमारो प्लेन में आ जाएगा एंड उसको फिर हॉस्पिटल में ले जाएंगे एंड द इंजेक्शन विल बी गिवन एंड इट विल टू दैट एक्सटेंट क्योर द कैंसर. सो आवर डॉक्टर्स are aware of the latest brand of medicine which has come into a US company or a French company, basically North American company, and we can get it in one day. So जिस दिन ये डॉक्टर ने दे दिया कि ये इंजेक्शन चाहिए, then अगले दिन ये इंजेक्शन आ जाएगा और हमारे हॉस्पिटल पर लग जाएगा. So you don't have to go to USA or Europe to be admitted. Now this is health, and they are doing. So this innovation is done in the pharmaceutical industry of USA or Western Europe or even Japan. So this sector is the largest amount of turnover, and we spend a lot of money. Indians now are the largest population. And we are spending money on pharmaceutical. And if we don't innovate pharmaceutical products, then at least the IPR is going away. And IPR is 25% of the cost. So इतना पैसा तो अपने आप ही जा रहा है. वो लोग कुछ नहीं कर रहे. उन्होंने पहले कर दिया 5 साल, 10 साल या 1 साल पहले उन्होंने इनोवेट कर दिया, and we are paying for that. Unseen, unheard. You understand? So this is a kind of power. Similarly, like I said, engines of cars, trucks, buses, all these. And if they have the IPR, then they are getting the benefit. Then we have a whole lot of other things. You must have seen that how roads are more efficient or buildings with very low cost, but yet 90 story buildings. So material. Now these materials have to be innovated so that you have very strong binding, very good ability to hold the weight, and yet it is not heavy. So what happens? In Japan, which is the world's most earthquake-prone country, you have these kind of earthquakes or you have cyclones, but the physical loss is very limited. The material loss is there, but physical loss, human loss is very little, because बिल्डिंग गिर भी गई, ये हुआ तो कोई चोट ज्यादा नहीं लगती. They are different kind of materials. We have to constitute our scientific use in such a manner that we live with a greatest degree of safety and efficiency. Earthquake prone area. Because when there is an earthquake, then the sea goes up tumble down, but at least the shocks don't destroy the building. So we have to use the scientific knowledge for our requirement, or we use for our requirement, we develop new scientific knowledge and all these things. So whether it is a medicine or it is the way things are built or transport, everyday use, every time some new challenge comes, innovations have to be done. So the world is dynamic. There is no staticity in our life. खड़े हो गए तो रुक गए, हमारे ऊपर से लोग जाएंगे। वो शोले का डायलॉग है ना, जो डर गया वो मर गया। So actually it is like that. If we get stymied, then we lose. If we lose again, then we go into the binary thing, then we get zero. Knowledge is something which will multiply our ability, and we have to actually put our chaps into that kind of training, train the mind so that we can develop. And I remember sometime in early 2000, early 21st century, I had gone to Jamshedpur, and Mr. Muthuraman, chairman of the Tata Steel, or Tata Steel, he was my host. So he was showing me Tata works, Muthuraman was later on chairman of Tata Sons also. So we had finished the round and we had discussed and all these things, and we were coming out. So he said, no, I want to show you something. So he pulled me and we saw a kind of a museum of Tata. वो दिखाया उन्होंने. Then again at the last he said, you must see this. So मैंने कहा वो देखा. And what was the last bit he showed was a Tata innovation done by a Tata worker. That worker was a, क्या नाम बताया? He was a Sikh chap. He was a supervisor, the overseer kind of a chap. And he had made something. So he said that ये देखिए, ये क्या है? तो मैंने सोचा ये this is an abstract painting. So I said, it looks like an abstract painting. This Sardar क्या नाम था, Tarlok Singh or something, artist है, बोला नहीं. Then he took a steel, this polished object, a cylindrical object, and then इस पे देखे. तो उस पे जब देखा तो I found it was Abraham Lincoln. Now Abraham Lincoln was the image, and a rough drawing was this, and this was done by the Sikh supervisor who one would never think that he was an artist. Now, human brain is huge and its innovative ability is huge, and its Tata honored this. So as a good company, Tata honored the ability of their supervisor, of their workers' supervisor, his ability to innovate and do other type of work. Because this gentleman saw the various images which come into a cylinder and did the negative of that, and the negative was painted. Now, to honor the guy, a small fellow, because of his innovative ability, is a good company. So therefore Tata is India's best company. And so we have to be the best, we have to be pioneer, we have to be one and not zero, and then we can take India forward. There is no other scope. Thank you very much. Jai.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. Your words have truly inspired us today. Thank you so much. Our guest of honor of today is Professor Dr. Ramesh C. Sharma, Director, Human Resource Development Center, Ambedkar University, Delhi. Sir has done MSc, MA, MCA and PhD in Educational Technology. Sir has been Associate Professor of Educational Technology and Learning Resources at Wawasa Open University, Malaysia. Sir has been a visiting professor at Universidade do Estado da Bahia, UNEB, Brazil, and University of Fiji at Fiji. Sir has been Director of Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia, Director of the Institute of Distance and Continuing Education, as a CFTC expert of the Commonwealth Secretariat, United Kingdom, University of Guyana, South America. Sir has been the Regional Director of Indira Gandhi National Open University, India. Sir has been a member of the Advisory Group of Human Resources Development for the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. While at the University of Guyana, he was also collaborated with the UNDP for its Enhanced Public Trust Security and Inclusion Project, Volunteer Service Overseas, and United Nations Volunteer to develop suitable educational opportunities for the communities and youth. Sir has edited Asian Journal of Distance Education since 2003 and has been associated with several other peer-reviewed journals including SSCI Scopus Journals as reviewer, editor and editorial advisory board member in the field of open and distance learning. As an author and editor of several books and research papers on educational technology, educational multimedia and learning. Sir is a practitioner promoting open educational resources. He has been a trainer and capacity builder in the field of educational technology and has supervised doctoral research in the field. He has conducted workshops and evaluation activities for IGNOU, CEMCA workshops and COL, UNCTAD and Aga Khan Foundation, among others. We are highly honored to have you amongst us today, sir. I request our Vice Chairman, sir, to welcome our guest of honor with this afternoon. Thank you, sir. I request our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Ramesh C. Sharma, to enlighten us with his words. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Anji. Good morning, friends. Honorable Dutt sir, so nice to hear your experiences. They are really wonderful. Anirudhji, namaste. Our good friend Dr. Vinny, Dr. Pooja Sharma. I think she has been chasing me, unfortunately. I feel sorry for that. Yesterday I was away and could not send the message. But it looks like it created some ripples. So, and my very good friends, thank you so much for having me here. It's really nice. And I think at the outset I would like to congratulate all those 69 authors of the papers, those who have submitted your papers and will be presenting here. It's a very good number. Means it has its significant mathematical significance also. But you deal with prime numbers, consecutive numbers, these kind of numbers. We have a whole list of numbers. A number is not a simple number, it has a lot of numbers. Numbers, even numbers, fractions, 69. But in terms of quantity, it's a huge, and I think that shows the success of this global information and business strategic conference. And I'm sure that a wonderful book will come out of this. When I was looking at the topics in this book of abstracts, I found some of the papers very interesting, and the highlighting the situation in which we are passing through currently. We popularly say that the stage which we are currently is it is a VUCA world. We see a VUCA world. So V stands here for volatile. You see the tempers they play, particularly you must have been reading in the newspapers about the road rage or anything you go, the things they flare up. Like we are just sitting on a nuclear and you just need to press the red button from there. Uncertainty, U stands for things are not clear. C stands for complex. The whole thing, the whole world, it's so complex. Means the equations, they are not so simple or linear. And the last one, A stands for ambiguity. So when we are dealing with volatile things, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity in that, then what needs to be done or what is happening? It is bringing out a unique kind of changes in the world. And few things very recently they have, everybody is talking about it. I don't know how many of you have heard about the word goblin, G-O-B-L-I-N, goblin mode. The Oxford University Press did a survey, just fast when I say, boleto, like in we say, boleto, Formula 1 racing car like, picking up the speed from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour within 3-4 seconds. Because the technology, the information, it is changing so fast, otherwise the gap increases, it will be just like, picture Datta has given so much of the examples that how these gaps, the other countries, when we were waiting in the room there with Anirudhji there, we were talking about that how the education and other things as a country comparison from there. Now, this makes us that what should be the role of the teacher in that? How should we be? Perhaps we should act like in Mahabharata we have one of the chief characters as Jambant. Hanuman has been considered that there are I think 5 or 8 characters in our mythology who are Amar, Ajar Amar. They are still existing among us. So Jambant, he knew, and when the task was to be given कि अब लंका कौन जाएगा, बोला इसको भेजो हनुमान जी को भेजो. गए किसी जाना है आपको, तो बोला वो तो था नहीं उस वक्त, तो सर कि नहीं मैं कैसे जा सकता हूँ. And then he told him his powers. फिर कहता हाँ अब मैं जा सकता हूँ. So that should be the role of the teachers. Our students, really they have lot of potential. In some of the things they are better than us. We need to ignite that thing by having that the what Jambant did for Hanuman, we also need to do that for us. So thank you so much. Once again, congratulations to all of you whose abstracts have been accepted, and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. I request Vice Chairman, sir, to present a memento to our chief guest, Sri Shekhar Dutt. sir to present the memento to our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Ramesh Sharma, as a token of respect. Thank you, sir. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Sheetal Chalda, Academic Coordinator, Geeta International Business School, to present the vote of thanks.
Honorable Shekhar Dutt, former Governor of Chhattisgarh, guest of honor Professor Ramesh Sharma, Vice Chairman Sir Professor Maitri, researchers, participants, and my dear colleagues, and also the dignitaries, Professor Venkataraman. A very pleasant morning to all of you. Today I feel incredibly honored and privileged to have been allowed to extend a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of 13th International Conference on the theme of Global Information and Business Strategy. We are fortunate that the conference has brought together distinguished guests, researchers, and scholars from different countries across the world and various parts of India, both physically and virtually. And I do believe and hope that these 2 days events will be rewarding for all of us. I would also like to thank our chief guest, Shekhar Dutt, for sparing his valuable time and gracing this occasion. Your presence has made this occasion truly memorable, sir. We are really appreciative of your words of wisdom and really grateful for being here, guiding us and motivating us with the thoughts that the world is binary and we are hoping for one. Sincere gratitude for Professor Ramesh Sharma for his deliberations and efforts, ensuring his presence despite his huge work commitments, and sorry for chasing you, sir, and hopefully we haven't offended you. We are hopeful, sir, that this is the beginning of our mutually fulfilling relationship. I would like to thank our Vice Chairman, sir, for his continued guidance, relentless efforts, most important, his vision for the creation of this event. I would like to also thank our Dean ma'am, who is not physically present today, for her precious efforts and support always. This session would have not been possible without the work of session coordinators and the support team, and I would like to thank them wholeheartedly and hope all will be able to develop a complete experience for the participants. I would also like to mention the efforts of my core team members, Triarch, and their energies and work. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, I welcome all of you to this 2 days journey of academic pursuit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we come to the end of the inaugural ceremony of the 13th International Conference of Geeta International Business School. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Piece of Professor Anil Kumar from the Dean of JNE. From FMS
Professor Rajveer from Simply HR. Ramesh sir.
Thank you so much. Nice. He's a professor. Yes.
Pleasure meeting you.
Let's see the conference with all of us. Yeah, sure, sir. Sure. Yes, sir. Please.
Has also been rated number 2 by Times B-School Survey in 2018, 2019 and 2021. Now I would like to draw your attention towards our esteemed panel members. Dr. Arvind Kumar, He is a dean at Atal Bihari Vajpayee School of Management and Entrepreneurship, JNU. Sir has more than 20 years of experience of academics and industry. He is a certified entrepreneur educator from Stanford University, USA. We welcome you, sir. Now I would like to introduce our second panel member for the day, Dr. Ramesh C. Sharma, Director at Human Resource Development Center, Ambedkar University, Delhi. He is an Associate Professor of Instructional Design at Ambedkar University. He is also the Open Education Resource Ambassador for the OER Foundation. Dr. Ramesh is also the editor for Asian Journal of Distance Education. He was also the director at Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia. We welcome you, sir. Our third panel member for the day, Mr. Rajneesh, co-founder of Simply HR. He has over 3 decades experience as a HR practitioner, corporate, worked with iShirt, Gillette and Network 18 Group. We welcome you, sir. Our fourth panel member, Dr. C.S. Sharma, Dean Academics, Indian School of Business Finance. He also served as Professor at Sri Ram College of Commerce, University of Delhi. Dr. C.S. Sharma is a distinguished educator with broad experience in India and overseas in teaching, program development, institution building, financial performance, and business development. Welcome you, sir. Our fifth panel member, Professor Venkat Raman, Professor at Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi. Before entering academics, he worked with an international NGO. He is actively engaged in advisory responsibilities with many bilateral and multilateral development partners such as the World Bank, WHO, and other international agencies. He has been a recipient of several awards and fellowships. We welcome you, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Vinay Mehta sir to present memento to our esteemed guest, Dr. Arvind Kumar.
It's a green light. Green.
Now I would request sir to present the sapling to Dr. Ramesh sir. Sir, now I would request you to present sapling to our guest, Mr. Rajneesh sir. Please present sapling to our guest, Dr. C.S. Sharma. And to our guest, Professor Venkat Raman. Now we move ahead and begin with the session. Now I take this opportunity to introduce the moderator of this panel discussion, Dr. Sheetal Chadha, Associate Professor GIBS. Now over to the panel members.
Thank you so much, Swati ma'am, and welcome to all panelists here. The theme is quite apt, as we can see that we are moving towards a knowledge-based economy in India. So I would request, before we actually have some kind of interaction, we would like to have your initial thoughts on the topic. All of you are clear on the topic, so we can have your initial thoughts and we can begin in the sequence we are setting, sir. So first, Arvind sir.
Very good morning. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to congratulate GIBS for the panel discussion on a very contemporary topic. So the need of the hour is definitely knowledge-based economy. I will not go into the detail about the conceptual part, what is knowledge-based economy is. But definitely when I look at the other parts of the topic, so somewhere it is also mentioning about the academia, then contribution to the industry. So when you really look at the various industries, academic institutions, especially B school, so it's very apt, as the moderator also mentioned, this topic is very, very apt. So we have to keep in mind how knowledge-based economy and how academia can really contribute for the economy. So B schools like GIBS or any other B schools, so they are into the knowledge creation. And why I am calling it a very contemporary, because especially a country like ours is going through the transformational phase. NEP 2022 is there. The UGC almost in every day coming up with the new bills, new regulations. And when we really look at the time spent, so it became very, very important. I've been reminded some of the research studies, so which says about the Indian education system. The output is passed out to students. So the big question is whether they are employable or not. So the research says almost 80% of our graduates, they are not employable at all. And when it comes to the B school, those who are MBA students, I'm not talking about the premier B school of the countries, IIMs or FMS or other premier B school of the country, but talk about the other B schools. So somewhere there is a mushrooming of B school. So we have to really think of employability. So we have to really work upon the employable part, so we can effectively contribute to the economy. When we really look at the traditional sectors of economy, so one point in time India used to be aggregating economy. Now time has changed. So the time has come for the knowledge-based economy. So we have to really figure out the significant role of knowledge workers, knowledge employees. But ultimately they will be produced through the academia. And when I really look at the solution part, the solution comes from the academia industry interface. I look at the syllabi, so for last couple of years, syllabi has not been revised in some of the universities. So the point that I am trying to make here is, in case we are into the production of knowledge workers, knowledge employees, and we want to significantly contribute to the knowledge economy, then we must produce quality human resource. We are very privileged to have very high population and very young population as well. But the point is, are we able to create a knowledge workers? So somewhere we have to address this question, then significantly we can contribute. Another point that I want to make here is, until we don't work on academia industry interface, so hardly even some of the B school have found very little intervention or very little interface is there. They are not part of the curriculum design, they are not part of the syllabi, they are not part of the BOS or whatever may be the nomenclature of decision making. So I strongly feel, in case if you want to contribute significantly to the knowledge economy, then definitely we must focus on knowledge workers, producing of knowledge workers. And immense contribution will come from the premier institution, all institutions. And I'm very hopeful that the NEP 2020 definitely will give a lot of space to change the landscape of higher education in India. So these are my opening remarks. Then I would like to hear my all esteemed panelists. Then definitely we can take it forward. Thank you, Sri. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Rajneesh, sir.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. This is my second visit to GIBS in just about 4 months, and I would pick up the word uncertainty, what Sharmaji mentioned in the opening session, that I won't be seeing Dr. Johari here. And it is such a tragedy when I got to know, I didn't know that this was my last meeting when I met him last about 4 months back. And when I met him, we had common ground in the sense that we got to realize that both of us had worked for the same company, Aisha, in the past. So there was a very fond relationship that grew instantly, but such are ways of life. You don't know how long you are here. So it's very tragic, very uncertain. So I think I'll just put this whole situation onto the way India is going through whatever is happening in the country. Right? You know, at one level we are very, very excited. At another level, we are also very apprehensive. Is this a bubble that is being created in India? We don't know. Right? So it's a very catch-22 situation. When I got to know about the topic of the panel, I was very excited because this is the space we are working in. We are working with knowledge economy people. We are in that generation now. And all of us sitting in this hall, I'm sure all of you are struggling with managing the next gen people who are coming into these schools, into industry. So my opening remarks, I will keep it in two buckets. One is, of course, what the academia needs to do. Very, very clearly, they have to address the challenges which a knowledge economy really poses. And some of them Dr. Arvind picked up very beautifully, in the sense that are we really revisiting our curriculum on a regular basis, ongoing basis, that becomes very, very critical. How's the faculty development happening? That's very, very important. Our 20-year-old son goes to Ashoka University. Trust me, when he comes back every weekend, the kind of interaction we have with him in just about 2 years into Ashoka University, his level of thinking, level of conversation is phenomenal, not just because he's there with his people or friends or colleagues, but largely because of the quality of faculty which is there. It's just amazing. The way he's thinking and the way his conversation is happening between us, it's just baffling actually. So we need really engaging leaders who really inspire. This country needs a lot of inspiring leaders. We need role models. We need people who can be really followed to the T. People like Kalam Sahab. We have an excellent role model in this country. He's no more. But look what he has done for all of us. He's a classic example of a typical knowledge economy product. He was way ahead of his times. He has shown us the path. Do things simply. Do things right. Do things from the heart. These are very, very simple. What is so rocket science in it, honestly? But someday we get lost in so much other things that put us in different directions. That's why the uncertainty part and Sharmaji's point I picked up from Buka. Things are getting complex in this country. Ambiguity will remain. And the first word, volatility, is always on the side. You never know. Are we sitting on a time bomb? We don't know. That's my opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And very like you said, you have touched upon a part of us because like you met him a few weeks back. We met him on the same day when he passed away while eating food. So I mean, this is the level of uncertainty we are facing. And but you know, we would like to have some kind of an analytics working here, so that we can also predict this at So next, Professor C.S. Sharma. Yes. Yes. My apologies, sir.
You can say that it is Sharma's way now. I would like to have 4 points, very short points. The first one is like, because we are talking about the global information and how the business processes or strategies, they should be oriented so that our country keeps on growing. Already there is so much of the change in the way the Westerners or we were perceived by others. Really a lot of, because when I go and what I used to read about what the people think about Indians or India long back, and now it's altogether a completely changed situation. So that way, if we think, the first point which I think is very crucial for us is to adapting to the new technologies. When we say, when Sir World Economic Forum founder, he said that we are in the 4th industrial revolution stage now. Many of the, you see, our Niti Aayog or the Government of India website, I think up to 70% of the states in some way, they have implemented their policies or their strategies on blockchain. It needs to be percolated down up to the education institutions like credentials management. That is there. So, if you take the example of say Netflix, what it was a DVD mailing agency sending out. But then they switched to the streaming, and you see how the business has flourished for them. So first is this one, adapting to the new technologies. Second is, as I like the name, Simply HR. Actually, because whenever I think of another Simply Learn, there is an e-learning platform, it comes to mind. But life should be simple, technology should be simple. The second point which I think is very important, which he highlighted very beautifully, to invest in talent. And one of the good example I would like to quote about it, about those of you who have heard about Mr. Jack Ma. You know, in his many of the interviews, he has said that I was rejected by KFC, I was rejected by Simply HR, this, that, etc., etc. But then Alibaba became one of the, although very recently I said that मैं थक गया हूँ कोई और संभालेगा. But what he was, if you see his background, English teacher, no business background per se, but he has one quality in him. He had that innate quality of identifying the talent. He could identify कि मैथ्स में ये टैलेंट है तो मुझे इनको पकड़ना है. So investing in talent, that goes with this. The third point is building a strong digital presence. इसके बिना कुछ नहीं है. आज के डेट में हम घड़ी नहीं बांधते होंगे, बट इसके बिना काम नहीं चलता. ये हाथ में हमेशा रहता है. And it has become everything for us. From messaging, from business, from doing anything, checking, alarm, सब कुछ there. So Google, Facebook, anything, the strong digital presence, and particularly for business, to go out, it has to be there. And the last point for our colleagues out there, carrying out the research which is useful, which is contributory, and which has a meaning for the sustainable development of our nation. Those things. So try to identify that what are the potential research areas in these conditions where we are leading to what are our targets, and that research should contribute to this society. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much to the Intelligent International Business School for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on the knowledge-based society. You see, it's challenge. So when you go to the watch vendor, digital watch vendor, you will say, I want a digital watch. It's say how many kilograms. That is what they did. And it paid the economy back many times over. Similarly, for example, now let us come back to it. We have Chandrayaan mission. How many spin-off technologies that have developed, they have come back to the society. It paid itself back. Similarly, so many BrahMos has been developed. And we are doing a wonderful job as far as DRDO is concerned in developing more technologies. Now, thing is that the knowledge, when we look at the word knowledge, knowledge has several levels, and there are different continuums of knowledge. One continuum is, we say science, knowledge based on science, and the continuum continues as basic science, basic knowledge, vernacular knowledge, embedded knowledge. Look at another continuum of knowledge. The other continuum is On one side we have theoretical knowledge, on the other side we have practical knowledge. There is yet another continuum of knowledge, and that is, on one side we have linear, hierarchically organized knowledge, and on the other end we have a network-based knowledge. Now these knowledges and the continuum that we have, all these have to be immersed at the level of masses. And how that can be done? That can be done if we are able to develop an institutional framework in which these different levels of knowledge, these different knowledges which are of different continuum, at different continuum, all these knowledges are created institutionally, but at the same time are spinned off into the society for the greater good of all, so that the society, at individual level, everyone remains economically prosperous, and at national level we become a dominant nation. So if an institutional framework is, until that institutional framework is developed, till that time, a knowledge-based society which will lead to economic prosperity will remain a distant dream. Look at the history of United States of America and look at the history of Japan. These are two nations which have developed a robust institutional framework for accomplishing this very task. I'm not saying that the two countries are heavens, please, I do not mean that. But they have substantially, those economies have those nations have their own weaknesses. They have their own follies, they have their own inequalities, they have their own problems. But they have been able to take care of uplifting the average level of individuals on one hand, on an average, in general. There will be exceptions. And have emerged as dominant societies in their own spheres. So if an effort is made in that direction, what those steps will be, I think we'll discuss it as the discussion unfolds. But if that thing is achieved, then the nation will develop, where the society will have reached the fruition of what we visualize as a knowledge-based society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, and very well said. Dominance, I think India is already on its way, and we would say that we have more examples like, as a leader, our own Prime Minister Modi is also, working on that part, that, he is showing us as a good leader. And dominance, I think, with G20 thing coming India's way. So India is also, we are working on towards that part.
Absolutely.
Right. So, thank you so much, sir. Now, Professor Wagner.
Thank you. Take a little slightly, it's very difficult to actually do justice to a last panel member. Right. Kind of a little contradict to what some of our contrarian view to some of the panelists have said that. Whatever their observations have been, wonderfully summarized. I do not know how many of us have read this book by John Naisbitt called The Megatrends 2000. If you haven't, please have a look at it. It was written about 40 years ago. He recounts about 10 major changes that society is going to go through. One of them, obviously, is the industrial age to information age. There he alludes to this halfway or half-life concept from nuclear physics into the knowledge and IT that's going to enable the knowledge explosion or information explosion. And according to him, in 1990s, the information would double every 5 years. Whereas in 2000 afterwards, it is supposed to be doubling about every 12 months or so. So the reason why I am trying to say this is about the information explosion has happened. Have we really used that information to the right purposes or the purposes for which it is supposed to be useful from the point of view of overall development? I am not saying that just about few corporate center making money, doing money out of it. There are a couple of points made about why Indian graduates are not employable. In the service sector, all said and done, there is a saying nowadays called no good deed goes unpunished. Service sector has done some damages too. And that damage is very apparent today. If you go to any typical engineering college, the students are sitting and listening to something about, let's say, mechanics or let's say civil engineering. There are about 100 students sitting in a mechanical engineering class. They are just keeping their head here and saying that Bako, मैं तो Infosys जाने वाला हूँ. So please understand what the meaning of what I am trying to say. They are not learning mechanical. Their aspiration is Infosys, and therefore all their focus is on coding, programming, or learning something in their computer that they can get a job into. Leave alone the engineering college. How many of our own MBA students prefer to go to manufacturing companies? Very, very few. The reason why I am bringing in the service sector here is that we are a massive consumer, net consumer of knowledge. Unfortunately, we don't produce knowledge. Why is that? Google happens to be, metaverse happens to be from the US, and we consume it, enormously. Why we are not producing Googles? That tells us something, that our service sector has grown like a balloon or bubble without that kind of a manufacturing sector being a very predominant force within us. A friend, Professor Sharma, alluded to the offspin of the Apollo mission. Every manufacturing facility comes out with a certain kind of a product or some kind of knowledge. Some of you are from HR discipline perhaps. We continue to teach what Frederick Taylor said, alright? Principles of scientific management. Where did he find these principles of scientific management? In a company called Bethlehem Steel, alright, near Chicago. And we continue to teach that even after 111 years. So it comes from the manufacturing principles in terms of, for example, defense, lots of us in terms of supply chain, for example, logistics, for example, procurement, for example, IT, for example, internet, for example, came from defense industry. If you don't have a strong manufacturing base, service sector will only produce net consumers of knowledge, not producers of knowledge. And somewhere we are making that mistake of creating people. I remember Mr. Arun Jaitley made a very, very pertinent statement when he was a finance minister in his first budget speech. He said that we don't want our graduates to be the salesmen of Chinese-made products. And that's so true. We are now cherishing our gig economy, but what are they doing? We have, now the reason why, again, this particular part about manufacturing company is important is an ordinary graduate coming from any college, able to speak 10 words or 10 sentences in English, gets about 25 to 30,000 rupees in a call center. If you are an engineer, you want to go into a manufacturing company, you don't get more than 12 to 15,000 rupees. So when you make that kind of a differentiation, and when you start paying 25,000 to an engineering graduate, your competitiveness comes down. And therefore we, as Rajneesh pointed out, are we in a kind of a stalemate or are we the future? What is it in our future? So we don't make our graduates employable and they also start thinking about only getting into service industry. Then we are making a mistake ourselves in terms of our entire economic backbone. I stop here and there will be more questions and answers perhaps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, most of the important points have already been touched upon. And since we have large amount of
control, perseverance, accepting what is happening to you as it is, forgiveness, and making an attempt to be one with the divinity. And we say what? Three things. Truth, that is Satyam, Nityam, and Purnam. Satyam is truth. Nityam is sustainability, eternity. And Purnam is completeness, wholeness, where there is no other. In Education 5.0, we are saying that let us go back, go beyond Education 4.0. 4.0 says, 4.80 says digitization, machine learning, rejecting the physical structures and going in the form of soft structures. Right? In Education 4.5.0 they say whatever is in 4.0 we accept it, but now develop social sensitivity and emotional development. If these two have to be developed, how do you do it? You look at your Upanishads. So if we are able to do that, then what Dr. Venkat Raman said, that instead of adapting what they are doing there, we have our own reservoir of knowledge here. It may appear to be little idealistic, but to convert an ideal into practical is the job of educational institutions. We need to do that. If we are able to do it, we shall definitely be able to do. We shall be able to develop a society which is knowledge-based, which eventually leads to employable people, which will lead to creative people, which will lead to what Dr. Venkat Raman said, people with creative thinking and balanced, emotionally intelligent people. So this is where what we really need to do, and this ideal needs to be converted into a practicality. That's it.
very, very nice. So, sir, now I move to Professor Arvind. Like I said, you are coming from Department of Entrepreneurship. So, like you said, that entrepreneurship is a solution to India's many problems. But if you look at the statistics, management graduates don't turn into entrepreneurship with the same zeal as the people coming from the B.Tech backgrounds. So, what solutions do you offer? Like you are a management college all through. What do you think that what should be incorporated into their mindsets or in the way the classrooms are being taught, so that they are moving towards that?
Thank you for your question. So it was truly a wonderful panel discussion that Professor Venkat Raman and Professor C.S. Sarma was addressing. So coming back to the question that you are raising, I'll definitely answer this question. Before addressing this question, I would like to add on the pedagogic part that you discussed earlier. So when we really look at our classroom setup, so there are a number of things that can be done. For example, participative learning. At times, what institutions are doing, so they are into creating monologues. So in classroom setup, one can simply think about having a participative discussions. Sir has talked about case studies, case labs. But we can also have, so in case if you look at the case methodology, So there are dummy cases, there are live cases as well. So as an B school or as an academic institution, we can also focus on live cases. The students and faculty may go and join some live cases. So that will also have some intervention. Some financial part would be rewarded to the student as well as faculty. I visited few institutions, so they are including JNU, my own university. We have Section 8 companies. So in case if we are encouraging our students to create Section 8 companies, and faculty can also participate into the board, guide, and they can be the stakeholders within that. So that will be wonderful culture. Coming back to the question that you raised, so basically it's a very thematic question on the panel discussion, the theme that we are discussing today. So we have to really look at the avenues, we have to look at the solutions. So solutions, so how many people can join corporate, how many people can join various organizations. So ultimately then we have to really think out of the box. So answer comes from the entrepreneurship. As you rightly said that, so is it something that we can develop, we can inculcate? Definitely institutions can, some inspiration can come. Professor Sarma very rightly talking about the various parts of knowledge, empirical knowledge, tacit knowledge. So somebody who comes from say a very remote area, some person has not exposed to the function of say AI or machine learning, but innovation can come from any side. Innovation can come from any point in time. Innovation can come from people who come from a very different geographical area, geopolitical science. So the point that I am trying to make here is, so the idea is entrepreneurship and innovation. The problem that we are facing is, so a lot of things will be answered by the entrepreneurship. So we must have entrepreneurial mind. What India, especially with the youngsters, they are very happy to join a company. They feel very safe. Oh, if I am going to join, and they are comparing with the numbers. 50 lakhs, 1 CR, IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, IIM Ahmedabad. In case if you look at the placement packages, so they are more driven, more attracted to the numbers. But now the question comes, how we are going to address the problems. So ultimately, until unless we don't have entrepreneurial mindset, we cannot. I have also seen there is also one trend that initially people work for the corporates and they get some experience, they spend 10 years, 5 years after exposure from other costs. That is also a good sign. You can have experiment, you can have a learning from others costs, then you can start your own venture. So ultimately now the question that we have to academic institution must incorporate is entrepreneurial mindset, and we have to be very applied. One of the aspects of knowledge economy, our education must be application oriented. Now for almost 75 years we were teaching theoretical aspect of teaching learning. But now the time has really come where we have to think of applied education. The education that may be applicable. One of the points that somebody was raising, like in case if you look at technology, so now we are bulldozed by the technology. For example, information. So if I Google something, sir has rightly said कि ये तो वाइफ की तरह है, एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ 100 आंसर वापस आते हैं. But if I recall my days during the college, so information, we were very fond of the professors. उनके notes मिल जाते थे, बहुत कुछ मिल गया, खजाना मिल गया. So that kind of, now we are not in that era. We are in the era of technology, overdosing of information. If I search information, then I found 10, say thousands of information. Now the challenge is how to get relevant information. We have to work on the filtration of relevant information. So the question that you are asking is important question. India has to move on to the entrepreneurial mindset, and we have to be the combination. We have to oppose the combination of indigenous tacit knowledge, and we are not ignoring the advanced technology. As sir rightly pointed out, we have to think of education 4.0, but we have to learn, relearn, unlearn. So the time has to really come for the experiment. In my opening remarks, I said this is a transition period for India. NEP 2020 in place, lot of changes are also happening in higher education institution system. You can see the ordinance or the bills or the acts by the UGC or the apex bodies of the country. So very soon we will have a very transformational phase. So we have to reclaim ourselves as a Vishwaguru in true sense. Not in theoretically, very proudly we said that we are Vishwaguru. We had roots, we had a very knowledge-based society. Again, we had to reclaim. At a very lighter note, one point was shared by Professor Sharma. So he said, at what time I did my postdoctoral from US, Ohio State University. So I do agree with his point. Professors are generally approached for the problem solutions. But in India, that is also very popular about the professors. We have hierarchy like assistant professor, associate professor, and professor. Now senior professors as well. So the saying is कि assistant professor कुछ पढ़ाता है, कुछ पढ़ाता है, associate professor कभी-कभी पढ़ाता है, और professor ना पढ़ता है, ना पढ़ाता है. So that is also a reality. So with that lighter note, I stop here. Thank you.
But I'll just add to that because the question was around entrepreneurship and that is something that one has lived for the last 12 years.
I actually wanted to add one question for you.
Sure.
So, when you're saying that you're looking at the perspective of industry as well, you're saying that, we are looking at students who are employable. But I have seen, with my interaction with the company, that companies are also now in the process of impression management. They are not looking seriously, they are not seriously looking for the talent sometimes, they are looking for the impressions as well. So, it is giving a kind of illusionary concepts among the youngsters' mind. So, as a practitioner, how you, plan to resolve this? Because every step we are taking is actually making the nation, it's basically building the nation. So.
Yeah, so I go back, but I'll just touch upon a couple of things which are happening and it will be very of interest for the academia team here. When my 20-year-old son tells me and takes up the names of Zuckerberg or Bill Gates and tells me, look, these guys are college dropouts, right? And look where they are. So there is this amazing questioning happening about education per se.
I think computer is responsible for this. Are we misusing this? Where we have gone wrong? Are we taking our student to say that we are we are putting them in a den basically? We are not developing the student.
The answer is very simple. Technology is not responsible. UGC is responsible.
No.
Very simple.
So then why the students? Yeah. Why the students are not using? Yeah, please do.
I'll give you an example. An answer to be given by Professor. Essentially, it should be other way around. You should give the answer, then I should give an example. I'll give you an example. It's a real case. Year is 2017. University is Duke University, Department of Computer Science. There is an instruction to the students there that nobody will share their Excel solutions with each other. One student from India, one student from Russia, and one student from another country. These three persons still share their sheets of assignment tasks. It was detected by the professors. Professors took all the trouble. Very important point. Professors took all the trouble to find out whether the students had exchanged their sheets. And immediately a red flag was raised and they were asked to disband. Go. and they were going to that extent that this semester you will fail and there will be entry in their visa. The students were very disturbed. Then a lot of meals took place, there was a board that was set up, they interacted, and eventually they said, okay, in minimum punishment, we are taking a very kind view of this situation. This semester you will not be allowed to pass. Next semester you can re-enroll. We are not making an entry, we are not giving an entry to the foreign office, whatever it is called there. But you will have to go back to your countries and apply for visa afresh. I mean, come back again, not apply for visa, come back again. You will have to go back to your countries. Was done. Year was 2017. Okay?
But not in India, this.
I will tell you. When I was a small, second example for personal life. Normally people should not be giving examples for personal life, but I was still taking the liberty. I was the eldest son. We had many cousins and I was the eldest.
He taught financial accounting, financial management, working capital management, financial services. He has supervised PhD work and published 3 edited books. He worked as coordinator for MBA program and worked as a visiting faculty for MSME, DI Guwahati and DIC Guwahati. He has guided research scholars towards PhD degree, published more than 30 papers in journals and books of national and international reputed. He has conducted various FDP, national seminars and workshops. Recently, he served as authored book on accounting published by the Taxman. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And now we will begin the track. And for the first paper, Ruchi Kaya, I would like to welcome Ruchi Kaya to present her paper. Hello.
A very good afternoon to all present here. I, Ruchi Kaya, is here to present my paper on the title, The Relationship Between Mergers and Acquisitions and Innovation, Exploring the Research Trends. So, next slide please. So this is the abstract which says that there is an expansion of the field in mergers and acquisitions and innovation, but we need to identify what are the existing body of knowledge. So in that case, I have analyzed 541 papers.
You will be given only 10 minutes to present your piece.
Yes, okay. So in that case, to understand the examination of the body of existing knowledge, so we have conducted a study which tells what are the basic areas and the primary areas in which the authors are working in the field of mergers and acquisitions and innovation by using the methodology of bibliometric approach. Next slide please. So here is the introduction of the mergers and acquisitions. Although the topic mergers and acquisition is not new for the authors, but yes, it has been used in multiple ways. Like we have used it in the form of finance, we have used in economics, we have used also in strategic management. But yes, the main thing which I have covered in this particular study is intersect with innovation, which is the new area in the research. Next slide. So now mergers and acquisitions with innovation means that we are combining with the other organizations, we are taking over other organizations to have the innovation capabilities and to share the knowledge with each other so that we can enhance our processes and products in that way. So in that way, mergers and acquisitions is currently are going through currently built just because of innovation capabilities. Next slide please. Now here is the research gap. Although the mergers and acquisitions have been researched by using the bibliometric analysis by a lot of researchers, but we haven't seen any research which is using bibliometric research in the field of mergers and acquisitions relating it to innovation. We have seen a lot of researches on mergers and acquisitions, maybe with the span of 5 years working on it, 10 years working on it, and 30 years. But there is a systematic literature review on that, but not bibliometric approach in this particular research area. So here is what we have addressed this particular gap in this study. Next slide please. Now these are the research questions which have been addressed by our study. The very first is to understand the current publication trend showing the relationship between mergers and acquisitions and innovation. Second is, what are the main studies and influential articles in the literature that links M&A and innovation? Third is, which themes in mergers and acquisition and innovation that requires an additional study and also at the development stage in the current scenario. Fourth question is, what is the current state of collaboration involving mergers and acquisitions and innovation? Research question 5 says, what are the intellectual structure of current research on mergers and acquisitions? So in my analysis and findings, I am going to tell how we have answered these questions in our research. Next please. So these are the literatures I have followed. I am not going to read these. Further please. Next. Now data and methodology. So we have searched this topic in Web of Science database, the full collection of Web of Science database in November 22 and conducted a search by using the key terms based on the literature review like mergers and acquisitions, innovation takeovers, acquisitions solely, mergers, M&A. With all the logical operators we have used like or, and not, and also restricting our research to the articles and review articles to the time span of 2012 to 22, and also we have restricted our research to the Web of Science categories which is related to management, business and business finance, and final sample we have received is 541 articles which we have analyzed in this research. When we talk about the tools utilized, we have used WAS Viewer and BiblioShiny to conduct the analysis. Next please. So we are beginning with the analysis and findings. The first question has been addressed. So we have seen that from the rising trend, we can see that there is an increasing trend in the publication. So we can say that in 2021 and 22, there is a rapid increase in the research area, so which says that it is an emerging topic in the current scenario. So we can say that in the figures that there is 10.88% growth rate in this particular research area, which has a scope for publication in the current scenario. Next please. So we have analyzed the publication activity by country also. So we have created this on the basis of, we have used the WASWare software to create such kind of network, and we can see that USA is at the top, followed by the China and England. So we can say these are the most top 3 publishing countries who are working in this particular research area. By keeping a limit, out of 52 countries, we have 28 countries which are meeting the threshold of 5 documents per country. But we can see that these are the top 3 countries who are working currently on this area. So here we can say that again there is a research gap that India is not working in that particular area currently. So here's a scope for Indians also. Next please. Now we have also analyzed the publication activity through journal. Again, these 541 articles has appeared in 152 journals, and among those top 5 leading journals are Strategic Management Journal, Journal of Business Research, Technological Forecasting and Social Change Research Policy, Technology Analysis and Strategic Management. So these are the top 5 journals who are publishing in this particular research area which is related to mergers and acquisitions and innovation. Next please. Now here comes the research question reads about the main studies and influential articles in the literature that are linking M&A with innovation. So again, we have used 541 documents, and to in the best possible way to answer this question, we have used the citation analysis. Next, please. So here we have taken the global citation analysis, which says that who all are citing what are the most citing articles in the literature that is being used by the other authors. So we have jotted down here 10 most cited articles on the basis of their global citations. The first one is just banking competition affect innovation, and followed by all these documents, and this has been taken from the source of Biblioshiny software. Next slide, please. Now, this research question 3 has been related to the themes in mergers and acquisition and innovation that requires an additional study, and what are the themes which are at the development stage in the current scenario. So here we have created, with the help of Biblioshiny, a thematic map which is divided into 4 quadrants. So the first quadrant says that this is a low development degree and also the low relevance degree. So the main area of concern is this quadrant, which says that quadrant number 4, that's a low development and the high relevance degree. So this quadrant means that the development is low, but the relevance of these topics are very high. So which means that these are the areas which need to be focused by the future researchers so that they can work upon in these areas. So which are open innovation, absorptive capacity, knowledge management, mergers and acquisitions leading to innovation, and these are the areas which are to be focused in for the researchers. Next, please. Now the fourth question has been addressed, that's the current state of collaboration involving mergers and acquisition and innovation. So this question has been addressed by finding out the co-authorship in the form of authors. So we have seen that these are the authors who are working in this particular area, but very few collaborations among them. So we can see that there are only 14 authors out of 1242 authors who are working, who are collaborating with each other. So then there is a scope of collaborations also in the future researchers. Next, please. These are the top 12 authors who are particularly working in M&A and innovation. Next. Last question. What is the intellectual structure of current research on mergers and acquisitions? So again, we have used co-citation analysis to address this question. Next slide, please. So here is a visual presentation of these co-citation analysis, which gives us a clusters of people, clusters of authors who are working in this area. So we can say this is the cluster number 1, that is the biggest one. Cluster number 2, that's the smallest one, and cluster number 3 with 22 articles. And we have also analyzed these 50 articles. We have also read all these 50 articles to understand what are the themes they are working on, what are the themes they are collaborating on. So if I talk about the first cluster, so it deals with technological acquisition and its effect on innovation. So this is the cluster number 1, which talks about all these areas. Cluster number 2, the connecting patents and R&D with mergers and acquisitions. So this is the cluster number 2. Again, having only 3 articles who are talking about this particular area. Cluster number 3 is the acquisitions and learning. So here, this consists of 22 articles which is talking about acquisition and how it is affecting learning. Next slide, please. So these are the 50 articles we have read and determining its clusters end of this particular subject. Articles are explicitly taken from Web of Science. The further studies can take multiple articles from different databases. Last is for comprehensive grasp of the research area in the current context, future researchers should examine new areas of development, more author collaborations and other techniques of analysis. Next, please. So these are the references I have referred. Next, please. Next. Next one. Next. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Please, it's okay. You just ask it. So,
Yes, sir.
the very outset, I'd like to convey my greetings to you for the topic. I already what to say about, I use your word, innovative topic. Innovation is there, because normally it is from your presentation, I found it, but it may be a topic of finance, but you have taken to somewhere else. Okay. Not from a negative point of view, I'm just saying your direction, that you have taken merger and acquisition, and then along with innovation, and you have done a lot of research work on that. Total, it's around 541 something.
Yes, sir.
And out of that, you got 50 top.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Articles. Okay. The thing is that, okay, your study, you have done your structure analysis was done, but methodology, I have a question, okay, on that part, and maybe because of time shortage, I think you have unpacked the things, okay. And what I feel that, what do you see about your study, okay, your study, in terms of merger and acquisition, and innovation in the context of Indian context, what do you see about?
So, although I have researched, since mergers and acquisitions is my research area only, so I have seen a lot of literature who are working with strategic management, resource-based view, and a lot of researchers on the financial aspect, but very few researchers are related to innovation. So that's my thought, that we should understand how and why the companies are getting into such kind of researches, and why that's a new aspect to understand that the mergers and acquisition companies are getting into mergers and acquisitions to have an innovation capability, to improve their innovation capability. So that also includes the terms like transfer of knowledge, knowledge management. So these are the new aspect of mergers and acquisitions which are in the current
innovation in terms of what?
Sorry, sir?
You say innovation in terms of what?
Sir, innovation in products may be a formula. Innovation in process may be a different way of doing the work. So, maybe one company is good at one thing and another company is good at another thing. Maybe the human resources also.
Can you link up your justification with an example of because you have done a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give an example in relation to what you are discussing.
Yes, sir. So, like we have seen mergers and acquisitions of Starbucks with Brooks Books. So, in that case, we have seen that one company is like good at selling coffee. The other company is good at books. So, we have merged for that purpose, so that they can grab the customers of a similar nature. And
this is what you are talking about, synergy of brand. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Two brand.
Yes, sir.
Have been merged. So
Yes,
they are
sir.
getting a synergy of
Yes,
their
sir.
brand value.
Yes, sir.
Now, where do you see here innovation? As per your justification.
Sir, I am not able to give any example right now. It's not clicking in my mind.
I have seen your study. You have gone through literature, but you have to see the picture of actual merger.
Yes.
Because my next question was that, because now it was marriage of corporate organization. People say used to use the word marriage of corporate organization. Merger term is right there. Okay. Now my next question was actually on that. Okay. So because after that, if you look at the Indian context or whatever in the global context also, if you see the merger and acquisition, most of them have failed. Take the example of Kingfisher and Airtel. Take the example of the others also. Sahara. Okay? I'm just highlighting one or two examples. So many other corporate failures are also there, and people started saying that the merger or acquisition can be treated as innovative or successful. What do you say?
So I can get your question.
So many examples of mergers are there, which have been in the post-merger. It has been seen that they fail to achieve their objective. So many things they say, we get another synergy in terms of innovation, in terms of brand value, in terms of technology, in terms of knowledge and information, whatever you say. Okay, they use the term, and most of these mergers have been failed in a post-merger situation. What do you say about it? That the merger has been considered as a failure also?
What about
Yes,
you?
sir, many a times it would be a failure. The reason being because a lot of reasons are there, like strategic reasons are also there. Like people are, they enter into a different culture, so they will not be able to cooperate with that particular organization. And there could be other managerial reasons also, which affects the mergers and acquisition success. So that is why the post-acquisition.
If they fail, how do you see the reversible knowledge?
So, I can't say anything.
You are working on it, that's why I am asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I have to say other things also of the question. Your presentation, you have to take care of your PPTs, okay? The design of your PPTs are not very good because most of them we are not being able to see. Clear? You may be copy paste of your text directly in the PPT, so try to make it little visible so that you can understand also your PPT. Hope you will take care of this in the next your presentation.
Yes, sir.
This is my suggestion. Thank you.
Well, Ruchika, I would like to know how you are going to blend merger and acquisitions with an innovations. How you are going to blend them?
So, many of the companies, specifically if we talk about pharmaceutical companies, so the innovation is the concept which has been used by pharmaceutical companies for a lot of formulations. So we can say that many of the companies, they don't have, like there are the cost issues also. So to have that innovation from the other companies or to have that knowledge transfer from the other companies, so they are getting into such kind of strategies like mergers and acquisitions, so that they can get they can improve their innovation capability and get their and incorporated in their organization.
What is the innovations over here is basically?
Sir,
what do you want to say in your
sir, the other organization, when we talk about, sir, this paper only tells that it can be used as a food of thought for the further researchers also. Like, yes, what are the basic concepts which they should focus upon. So this is the basic primary thought for the future studies.
I didn't understand the what you say that the topic itself. You have written that the heading that the relationship between the merger and acquisitions and innovations. How you are going to find the what you say that how you are going to blend that merger and acquisitions with the innovations? That's the question.
Sir, like
innovation is something else.
Firms are getting into
merger and acquisition is something else.
Yes, sir.
So how you are going to blend them together? And how to bring there as a relationship between them?
Sir, firms are getting into mergers and acquisitions. They are following these strategies to improve their product. So, if one organization is having, or maybe their services also. Say, for example, if one organization is having a good human resource and they are merging with another organization, so all the human resources are good, ample with a good intellectual capital. So they are moving from one organization to other, and they will help in the processes and improvement of the product also. So in that case, we can say that the innovation in processes, innovation in products can be a part of that particular organization who is being merged.
Okay, I am quite concerned with my panel member. The way you have prepared your PPT is not the correct way of making it up. What he said is, I do agree with it. Actually, while making what is a PPT means, you have to put a limited information on that and more expression should be there. But you have done it, you have written you are showing your work paper, what you have done it completely in that. So you have to tell that what type of a data, how you collected it. Those things are not very clear over here. So you must say that, not the question, I don't want it as a primary data, as secondary data or something like that. How that data is depicting, telling the story of your subject is. Okay, it should reflect, the data it should itself reflect that what you want to say in your topic is. That is not coming out very well, that you have to work on that. More and more. Not getting a 541 data is something. It's not enough. Merger and acquisition is a very big topic. It's not coming right now, it is coming from the very beginning. Not what the Americans have to use this word. We are using from the very beginning before that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have to work on this. And what is in which particular organization you are analyzing? On which particular organization you are analyzing now?
So this is a broad area or like research?
No, let me tell you one thing. Research is not a complete area, you should not work on the broad area. You have to narrow down to some particular point. When you come into that point, you have to tell that how you reach that solutions. Okay.
Yes.
So broad area is not a research basically. You are going to give us a lecture like this, simple lecture like this. You have to narrow down, bring it to let's say some companies, one particular set of let's say organizations or one set of industry, and show in your result how that industry has applied an innovations and how they have gone for, by going through the merger and acquisitions, how they have made an innovations. That is what should be there in the papers basically. Okay, when you do your research, maybe your research may be related to this things and you do it like that.
There is introduction, literature review, objectives, research methodology, data analysis, interpretation, challenges, suggestion, conclusion and references. These are the head points. There is my other on the paper. Next slide please. Okay, this is the introduction. So as per my title, investment is something that is an share which can generate income or we can appreciate in future reference. So my paper is generally based on the Scheduled Tribe people of Arunachal Pradesh. So I have written Scheduled Tribe people are mostly conservative in nature. So they are like the risks and even the probability of any losses that is undertaken by a small amount of risks. Despite, but there is a huge relationship between the patent and the investment with the satisfaction level of Arunachal Pradesh. So there are some of the financial parameters that has been correlated with the Scheduled Tribe people of Arunachal as well as their satisfaction level. So these are the various financial parameters, for example, liquidity risks, ROI, capital appreciation or safety of principal. These all are correlated. They have been more emphasized on the investment style or we can say pattern for the Scheduled Tribe people of Arunachal. So this is how the pattern of Scheduled Tribe people of Arunachal Pradesh has per my research. I understand like when the Scheduled Tribe people make an investment, before going for the patterns through the any financial instrument, firstly they will see any kind of preferences. Before investment, they will make preferences of it. After preference, they will make an investment decision. Then they will come to the financial instrument. Then it will lead to their degree of satisfaction. So these are the this is the model as per my observation, as per my research. Okay, this is a literature review. I have studied lots of, I have done a lot of literature review, but because the land of slides, I have taken only 5. I feel more important for this. Next. These are my objectives of this study. I have taken the 4 objectives for my study. So, firstly, it is based on the perception of the Scheduled Tribe people of Arunachal Pradesh towards the investment pattern. Secondly, I take the demographic and the investment profile of the ST people of Arunachal. And thirdly, it is factor that is been including their decision making, or we can say investment decision related to the Scheduled Tribe. And fourthly, it is a level of satisfaction of the people based on their investment agreements. These are my research methodology. So my targeted population was only based on the 4 occupations. So we can say that is professional, service, business, students, and I have written the others as well. And my idea of the studies was the Papupara and Lower Sumatra district of the Arunachal Pradesh. And my sample unit from that district, I have taken the 2 reasons, that is ICR and the 0. And my sample techniques was, I have used opposite sample techniques, and sample size was 120. And my source of data collection is based on the primary as well as the secondary. So this is my analysis of interpretation. So these are some of the points that have been I made on the basis of investment and the demographic profile. I have collected some of the points which have been analyzed and interpreted for my study. These are my demographic profile. So as we understand demographic, that I have taken the basic, for example, gender, mental status, age, Education, qualification, occupation, or this income, their income. And from the in the perspective of investment profile, I have taken like how many frequent investing in investment avenues we can see from here. Mostly they used to do the yearly investment from the chart investment, and I have studied the duration of investment of the scheduled tribe and their degree of knowledge of investment and what are the primary objectives mostly the scheduled tribe people of Arunachal used to think. So this is a historical analysis, like before scheduled tribe people has a history of Arunachal, before they are making any kind of investment, they generally used to make a historical analysis. They used to see the past performance of any kind of investment avenue where they want to make an investment. And we can say, after that, let's so after understanding they didn't receive the expected return, level of risks, their investment experience. So in individual financial situations, investment behaviors, sorts of information, how the people like in India where the far east is set. So I have analyzed regarding their source of information as well as their investment decision, basis of any kind of industry or company or trading agency or the past performance. I have taken there how they are making the investment decision towards any kind of investment avenues. Next slide, please. So these are some of the factors like while investment that ST people, scheduled tribe people of Arunachal used to take. Like as I said in this slide, there are various kind of financial parameters where before making any kind of investment, what are their patterns are there, what factors, what financial parameters they used to more focus on it. From this chart we can understand. And these are the satisfaction of the returns. After making any kind of investment in any kind of avenues, which factors, which avenues brings more satisfaction level to a specific investor. So we can see from here itself. So these are some of the challenges that have been faced by the investor. For example, lack of awareness is there. Lack of financial literacy is there, lack of accessibility, lack of promotion by the financial institution, investment environment is there, lack of confidence is there. And these are the suggestions for the investor. For example, I have taken only 3 suggestions, so many suggestions are there, but I don't have time to do the slides. So these are like some of the suggestions, like making the financial awareness by creating some programs based on the some financial things, seminars should be there. So these are my suggestions. And after that, after analyzing my every factor while regarding the investment pattern, how the people are making towards or what are their investment decisions towards any kind of investment avenues, mostly the people of scheduled tribe people of Arunachal Pradesh, mostly they focus on demographics as well as based on the investment things, and they regarding in words of investment they used to more focus on the bank deposit, is their insurance, is their post office. They used to more believe in the traditional avenues. So my conclusion is not based on I can say that Arunachal people investment pattern towards the satisfaction level is based on the contrarian style of investment. So thank you so much. These are my references. Thank you. Any questions?
Well, I want to ask you a few questions.
Yes, sir, please.
From this paper. How did you measure the level of satisfaction? Which tools you have applied for that?
The same thing.
No, like
You will be
That's the same question I was going to ask. The level of satisfaction how to measure it.
Yes.
Different criteria which I have used it.
No, actually, I think I made in the second PPT.
So that is you have made an essay that graph. How you have measured? You said the level of satisfaction.
Various financial parameters, like for example, liquidity, risks, return, capital appreciation. These are the parameters where I have been measured in order to understand the satisfaction level of the scheduled tribe people of Arunachal. with the job.
Okay, he is taking the parameters like the return, equity, etc.
Yes, yes.
All those parameters.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. These are the factors.
So I have to measure also that on return it is so much percentage has increased or equity they have increased. No, graph it is showing.
Yes, sir.
It is the maximum which one they have done it.
You know, at maximum their safety of principle used to be more, you know, before the...
Is it for the population of the same nature or is it the population of different categories?
Yes, sir. It is based on the category. Actually, for my study, I have taken the 4 occupations. That is from the service sector, profession, students is there, and the business person is there. From there, as per my sample, I have taken the 120. So it has been divided into 40.
So 4 are saying the same thing, or there is a difference between their opinion?
So after analyzing, then I understand their main factor is to understand the safety of the principle. It is the main factor in order to understand and in order to occur the satisfaction level of the student traffic.
So this is the most important output which are generated because somebody wants to improve the condition, then they should focus on this one.
No, actually, sorry for interruption, sir. Actually, my slides are a little bit big, so I don't want to minimize. So I don't want to take so much time of it.
Okay.
So
you have taken from Arunachal from one place or from many places you collected?
I have taken from the 2 districts. From 2 districts, I have taken 2 reasons. That is ICR, that is Chanakal Capital Complex, and the 0 is there.
No, why you took these 2 districts? Why don't you take some other districts? What's the reason for taking that particular 2 districts?
Yes, sir. Actually, it was my sorry, like it was very purposive in nature. I want to take because it's based on the more ICR and the 0. They are more urbanic in nature comparing with the other districts of Arunachal Pradesh. So it was my main purpose to take because they have in ICR their literacy rate is more high comparing with the other district, and in 0. Literacy rate is more high comparing with the other district. Because of the literacy rate, sir.
Because of the literacy rate, you have taken that. Literacy is the basic variable you have taken, and on the basis of that you have you have decided.
Yes, because as for my study, like I want my people or want my investor, at least they should know some financial thing. Because my study, if I go with the person is from the financial background, they are not illiterate है बोलने से तो I can't take my samples from that. So
after writing this paper, what impact you are finding out? What changes you will bring in the society, in your societies?
Yes, sir. For that, sir, as I said, as per my suggestion, I feel like there is lack of financial literacy there, as I said. So we can bring so many, we can emphasize more on the financial institution to come up with more seminars or so many financial programs there. So, as per 2020 11 census, Arunachal literacy rate is 66.8%. So, comparing with the other state of India, so it is very less. So, in my input will be, I will emphasize more on the financial institution to come up with more ideas of seminars or any kind of agencies, financial intermediate literacy. They should come up with the thing and they should teach some at least basic investment avenue for the means for making investment, because investment is all based on the savings and all. So if I earning money, so I want to invest somewhere else. So that's my purpose there.
So why you have not used any hypothesis for the studies?
So,
you can put up hypothesis on it.
Like say for example, private company, public company, Indian company, foreign companies, business groups, non-business groups, whether these categorization does affect the CEO compensation or not. So that is the basic objective. The data is taken from ProVeg database. Basically it consists of 251 listed companies. Obviously there are 500 companies, Nifty 500 was the basic database. From that finance companies were excluded and some other data were missing. So basically my data narrowed down to 251 companies. And for this I have used some descriptive analysis and ANOVA test to test whether the ownership makes a difference or not in the CEO compensation. As far as the findings are concerned, as we can see, the period I have chosen is 2011 to 2017 because post 2017, because of Corona and other variables, the data was not available, consistent data was not available. So that is why I have chosen the data from 2011 to 2017. And the findings are that the compensation of executive compensation are affected by the ownership structure. Different ownership structure do affect the CEO compensation. And they are basically, Indian companies are inclined towards fixed pay. Like in foreign countries, in the West countries, we find the stock component as one of the major component of CEO compensation. But in India, we are basically inclined towards fixed pay compensations, like salary. Not much research has been done on the ownership category, especially in India. Research has been conducted, but it is mostly from the West, from US, UK, West countries, but not in India related to this topic, on specifically this particular topic of ownership structure. And so this is basic abstract of my presentation. Ma'am, please next slide. First of all, what is basically executive compensation? The CEO compensation we are talking about. CEO is basically the chief executive officer, who is the highest ranked employee of any organization. He is the highest ranked employee of any organization, and the compensation which he is getting is known as executive compensation, which consists of both monetary and non-monetary benefits. Like it consists of salary, bonus, commission, perquisites, and stock, retirement benefits, stock options. Next slide, please. The reason why I have chosen this topic is this, that the rate at which the executive compensation has been increasing is far more than the rate at which the firm performance is increasing. Firm profits are not increasing that much, but the CEO compensation are increasing at a very high rate. Like we see in the period, during this period, the CEO compensation has actually risen from by 100%. But during that period, the firm performance has not increased by the same proportion, and it basically affects the stakeholders, the shareholders, whose money is basically leaked to the CEO. Their money, their wealth is basically taken away by the CEOs. And this is one of the hot topics in corporate governance right now, of CEO compensation. And like I told, most of the research has been done in US and UK, but in India, the research has not been done. Literature review, next slide please. In literature review, basically there is an insight of any topic. I have quoted two here. See, basically Jaiswal and Bhattacharya 2016 found that ownership structure and the board characteristics are the ones that determine the executive compensation in Indian firms. So it is basically the ownership structure which is deciding what is the amount of executive compensation it should be in Indian firms, and firm characteristics such as size and ownership have an impact on CEO pay. So if we go through the literature, we have found that mostly ownership structure and the firm size, these are the two variables which are mostly affecting the CEO compensation. What amount of compensation is going to them. Like I told, basically what is the literature gap is that in earlier studies, the basically focus is on the pay performance relationships. Like most of the research which has been conducted, it is on the pay performance relationship. Is there a positive relation or a negative relationship between the CEO pay and the firm performance? But not much research has been done on the ownership structure and the level and the structure of ownership, how they are affecting on the CEO compensation. And earlier research which has been done are basically focus on industry. This is for the Nifty 500 index. This is the research methodology, data of 251 listed companies on NSE has been taken, and from period of 2011 to 17 as I told, and over test and descriptive analysis. These are the research objectives. First is to understand basically the growth of executive compensation over the years, how it has grown. Second objective is to analyze basically the structure. What is the component of executive compensation which is given. And third is to assimilate the executive compensation based on the different types of ownership, like in which companies they are paying what. So that is the basic objective. These are the hypotheses for the study. Like first is the level and structure of total compensation is same for different ownership structure, and the second is the component wise I have broken down. Like first hypothesis is for the total compensation, the second hypothesis is for the salary part, third is for the perquisites, and then is for the bonus. This is the discussion and analysis part of the paper. Like basically from 1991 onwards, that was a watershed movement in the Indian economy, where so many banking reforms, regulatory reforms, and other reforms have taken place. So after that, India has also seen rise of, obviously LPG was there. So there basically there is a great increase in the executive compensation CEO pays after 1991. So post 1991 reform period, we see that Indian economy has grown overall, and also the payment which is going to the CEOs has increased. This is the level of compensation. As you can see in this last paragraph, last few lines, that in India, Reliance, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, Larsen and Toubro, TCS, Hero MotoCorp, Bajaj Auto Limited are the companies which are paying their CEO the most. Next, please. This is the average CEO compensation over the period. As we can see, like earlier in 2011, it was average compensation was 3 crores. It was 3 crore 88 lakhs. But now, if we go to 2017, we see the average CEO compensation is 7 crore 80 lakhs, which is going to an CEO. Plus, in this, there are two basically lines. These denote that this is the total compensation, and this is basically without the stock component. The stock component, which is ESOPs and the stock options which the employees are getting, the CEOs are getting. So basically, the CEO compensation is increasing because of the stock component. So that increases, basically inflate the CEO compensation. Next slide, please. This is the structure, like if you see, can you please, next slide. So next slide, please. This is basically the structure of CEO compensation. Like if we see, these are the basically different categories, like different components. Like this is the salary, basic salary which he is getting. Then second highest basically components are the bonus and commissions. So basically CEOs are getting their pay through salary, basic salary, and through bonus and commissions, and then through other perquisites and but if we see the stock component, it is very less throughout the period in Indian companies. The stock components for the companies are very less. I mean, very few companies are actually using it, the stock component. We have basically classified the companies on the basis of 3 categories. Business groups, where they are somehow interrelated, where they are running the companies. Then the companies which are listed under the Indian Corporate Indian Companies Act 1956 or 2013, and companies which are running their MNCs in India. Basically holding companies which are running their MNCs, and then private sector and public sector. Next slide, please. This is the analysis. Like if we see the business group company, the average compensation is 6 crore 42 lakhs. Whereas in a non-business group company, the CEO compensation drops down to only 4 crore 88 lakhs.
This is overall compensation or component of compensation salary?
Overall.
Overall?
Yes, this is overall. This is overall the mean, and this is the this non-group companies, and then this is the median salary and the variation and the coefficient of variation is there. Next slide, please. And this is for Indian companies and foreign companies. So if you see, in Indian companies are paying 5 crore 43 lakhs, whereas foreign companies are paying to their CEOs as 4 crore 47 lakhs. Next slide, please. And this is for public sector and private sector companies.
Can you say, so the previous one? This previous one?
Yes, previous slide.
It is Indian companies 5 crore 43 lakhs.
Yes.
5 crore 43 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
And foreign companies 4
crore 47 lakhs.
That means foreign companies are paying less.
Yes, sir. They are paying basically their CEO. They are not paying to their CEO. Because
Okay, I'll ask next question. Then you explain. Just I check.
This one, next slide, please.
Now, one thing more,
Yes, sir.
back side. How your standard deviation is more than mean? Oh, previous slide, right? Yes, standard deviation is more than mean.
Because sir, in these companies the variation is much higher. Like in Indian companies, there are some companies which are paying very much, whereas in other companies they are
You
paying
see, your
less.
standard deviation shows that it goes to highly negative also.
No, sir, not negative.
Comes to the range is 5 crores and then you're showing 5 crore standard deviation.
10 crore, how does that go?
How is possible?
How it is possible? So there's
Something
some
is wrong,
mistake is there in your calculation.
I think this calculation mistakes are.
I think sir might be I have copied
You put
it
the
down wrongly or
dot in the
something
wrong
like that.
place.
You check it out.
You check
I
it.
will check it.
Because standard
Because
deviation,
of that, I think your commission variation is.
because standard deviation, how it is possible to greater than mean?
Sir, I got your point. There was some restriction regarding the number of pages and number of so I have actually cut down some of the data for the paper. Actually, my paper was very lengthy paper because like you
But
don't.
at least you can put it into the thesis. Huh?
Yes, sir.
The long pages, you don't worry about that, you can make it a section 1, section 2.
Yes, sir.
2 papers you can come out.
Yes, sir.
On the
Definitely.
basis
I
of
am.
taking hypothesis overall, taking hypothesis on the basis of separate component.
Yes, sir.
And
I'm working on that only, sir.
Yeah, you do.
Because actually I have worked through eViews also. The eViews software I am using. So from eViews
You
software.
are using EVs also.
Yes, sir. But not in this particular paper because panel data analysis I have done in another paper. So for that I am using eViews only and for that everything is there. But I just.
You are using EVs and then you can calculate the descriptive there also. And why you are
Yes.
always like that? Why you have gone for Excel?
Sir, actually just to cut down the size, I mean it was getting very lengthy.
Which version you have used?
Sir, that student free version.
No, which one?
So I don't remember sir exactly. I think 7 is there. I guess.
7 is old. Now it's used 12 is going on.
EVs 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, EV 12 is good.
Anyway,
That's a.
So here we are using F value.
Yes, sir.
And suggest you also use P value. P value will be more punching than F value. That's what I feel.
Yes, sir. Actually, it is there in the next segment, please.
Next slide is there, P value.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
So there are such values. Next slide. This is like on the basis of salary component.
Yeah.
For first one was for the total compensation. This was for the salary component, and then next one is for the this bonus component. So I've done 3 for that.
So I would like to ask you a few things. Before starting your ANOVA, did you check 3 points in that? The 3 points we checked first. Without that, you cannot do the ANOVAs. Did you do that?
Yes.
That is the reason these type of variations are there. You have to check the normality, you have to check the independency of that, and then you have to check the reliability. All the 3 things to be first checked. If all the 3 satisfies, then only you have to go for ANOVAs. ANOVA cannot be, you can use it directly.
Yeah, I didn't actually check those things.
First, the data has to be checked for all these 3 things.
Actually, I like from some of the past papers I have seen that.
No. This is an Indian research paper where they are making a mistake. In all the paper I have seen, first you have to check all these things. If all the 3 things satisfy, then only you should go for ANOVAs. What is an ANOVA means? Analysis of the variance where you are going to find out there is no mean difference. There should be a mean difference should exist. Between them, unless if there is no mean differences exist, then how can you proceed further? To find out that reason only you are using an ANOVA. Right. Please check it out because this workout, don't do it in your thesis.
Sure, sir.
Take care of it. Huh?
Because it will give you entirely different result.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if dependency is there, then it will be different model.
Model, yes.
It's not the same model which you can apply here.
Yes, right. Any sir or more valuable inputs?
Sir, you can proceed. We'll be telling you one by one.
Carry on. Finish it first.
So basically this is all about it, and monkeys, these are the one slide back please. So this is basically the conclusion of the paper. Like I told, the salary component, the total compensation is gone from 388 to 7 lakh crore 80 lakhs. And there is basically 14% annual increase per annum in the salaries and the compensation. The mean compensation is highest for the business groups affiliated CEOs, and while it is least for public sector companies. Next is the salary component is highest for the public sector companies, followed by the foreign company CEO.
Is it public sector companies or public limited company? You want to mean what? Because in your whole study you have not seen private sector, public sector. Is it public limited companies or public sector companies?
Sector company, yeah.
Public sector companies.
Sector.
Are you sure that's like a bell, or you're talking about, let's say that?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So it is basically the government, Gujarat State Refinery Limited is there in this.
Is it in the NSE 500?
Yes, sir.
Nifty?
Yes, sir.
How many public sector companies are there in NSE 500? And then in your 251, how many public sector companies are there?
Sir, actually I have that in my full research paper. I can tell you from that. I don't remember exactly that.
251 can't be a public sector company.
251 is the total. Out of 500 companies, 251.
In that case, you should have bifurcated the public sector company separately, private limited, public limited company separately, private separately.
I have done that, sir, in my paper. I have done that. Sir, I have done that.
I see why I have asked you the question. Because there you have put the question about the public structure, okay, ownership structure. Now, when you say about, first you say that now, according to your version, what I have understood, that you have divided the companies into public sector and private sector. Then you have moved to, first you have divided in this way, or first you have divided according to the ownership structure, then you move to private sector and
No, sir, out of 251 companies, out of 500 companies, first of all the finance companies were excluded, and then data missing companies were excluded. Then I got that list of 251 companies.
Yeah.
Those 251 companies were categorized into, from one sheet I categorized them into this private and foreign. One I categorized them into business group and non-business group. And then third category I categorize them as public sector and private sector.
Now here is the question. What about the structure? Because what about the structure of the organization? It is different. A public sector company may be a public limited company also. A private sector company may be also a public limited company. Now how can you divide this ownership structure into private and public sector?
Sir, it is basically categorized on that basis, like a public sector in which government is having a 50% shareholding.
That is a different thing. So this sectoral concept definition. What about the structure of the organization concept?
That I have not done.
You see, if you do with a different
You have to be very clear on the concept. You have to be very clear on the concept because there is a difference.
So, sir, that I got your point that public limited company.
No, why I am
and
saying,
private
you see,
company,
why I am saying because your study will link to all these things. If you do a mistake there in the structural part, then whole study will go in vain.
So that I got it.
Because if you do the whole study and then at last you say that I don't know what about this, then there will be a problem.
No, sir, that I know. I mean, I have not divided on that basis. Public limited, private limited, I have not done. I have not done that.
Why you have not done that? Because that is the main important
thing which you have to do.
That is the important one. CEO is based on that.
So that I have not done.
Now you tell me, a private limited company CEO and public limited company, so both are same?
No,
they are different.
Then your study is based on what you are studying?
So that can be
You are studying on ownership
categories, sir.
structure and the impact on compensation.
Yes, sir.
Then
So
and
that
you
can
see-
be one another category for that, sir. Then public, the public limited and private limited companies can be one under more category.
No, I was about to come on that. Actually, when I heard about sector part, no, that's why I am saying. And you see your conclusion part, you see nowhere you have mentioned any private sector word. You see, have you written anywhere private sector?
No, it's in the public sector. The bonus and compensation is same as for the public sector and foreign companies.
Bonus and compensation is same for the public sector and foreign company, for that component part.
For the component part.
Component.
Not for the overall part.
No.
Yeah.
The component part, like say for example 5%, for example, like they are paying 40% and they are also paying the 40%.
Okay.
So they are paying the same ratio.
Same ratio. So it is better that you take the different computation and then you do all the analysis, then definitely your result will be more impressive.
Sure, sir.
Although your direction is correct, direction is not wrong, your direction is correct, but some basic concept has to be clean.
No,
Then it will be much better output will come.
I have some observation and it will not question actually. I think it will help you to make it a better.
Sure, sir, definitely.
But I feel that that study, if you, I think in 251, did you make it according to the sector?
Sorry, sir, did I?
That 251 sample companies, you have selected from NSC 500, okay? Okay?
Yes, sir.
They are from, it is not sector-wise selection, I think.
No, sir.
Why, on what basis you have done sampling of this 251 companies? What is your sampling technique?
Sir, this is where the finance companies were excluded.
No. What is the basis? On what basis you have rejected them?
Because sir, their reporting and their the things, standards are different. For finance companies, the reporting and standards are different. Like for banking companies, and for them, their reporting and their standards are different. So that is why non-financial companies are included. Like in mostly in all the research which are being done, basically non-financial companies are only included. Nowhere, like whatever I have seen, nowhere in the research basically every paper we have seen that the finance companies are always excluded from that because their reporting standards are different, their standards are different, so that is the reason why finance companies and banking companies are excluded.
Their standards are different for the reporting of their financial information.
Yes, sir.
Did they say anything that there is a limitation on disclosing of the compensation of the CEOs of those companies?
So I'm not sure about it.
You must have a valid reason of rejection. Just you cannot say that somebody has done a study, previous, they never included those things. Their topic may be different. Maybe that was not an important element, but your case, it is an important element. Can you reject those? Suppose, I am just asking you a question. CEO of ICICI Bank and CEO of Reliance Industries Limited, what are same or totally different?
So they're basically different because like in the banking.
On what basis you can say different? Can you categorize it?
So not.
Can you say that their salary is different, there is no information. There is no information on their reporting.
So no, I cannot defend right now, sir. But
that is true. What he's saying, you have to work on that particular part.
That is why I am saying.
Then only you have to say that there is a difference is coming.
This question will come, as you have mentioned in the methodology, that you have not included the finance company.
Yes.
But then question will come, why did not you include them? Then you have to give a valid reason.
Yes.
Okay. And then second observation is that when you did your sampling,
complete analysis and cross-industry analysis, then it becomes very difficult to understand the capital structure because a capital structure can be identified where if we do a country-specific or an industry-specific study, because every industry or every country has various different factors because of which one study cannot be implemented on other industry or other country. So, this literature review has given me few research gaps. The very first is that most of the studies, they have identified only two major components. One is the shareholders fund, where they have collectively identified that, okay, shareholders funds means equity plus preference plus reserves and surplus, but they have not segregated it. And the second one was the long-term debt. So, there is a need of understanding that shareholders fund comprises of three different elements and we need to understand their separate contribution towards the capital structure. Next one was that most of the studies cross-industry data and cross-country comparisons, but as I stated before, that to understand the capital structure, that rather than going for the complete cross-country comparisons. Cross-industry or cross-country data analytics. So, following that research gap, this study has focused on India, what country, what specific country, that is India, because of the various reasons. One, these studies have shown why there is a need of specific country study, and apart from that, India is the fastest growing economy. Apart from that, it has experienced various rules, depression, etc. So therefore, any research which has been done 5 years back or 10 years back may not be implemented correctly in today's era. So what I have chosen Indian automobile industry. Firstly, the Indian automobile industry is the capital intensive industry, and secondly, the Indian automobile industry is the fourth largest growing company. Government has also identified its importance and its contribution, and therefore government is taking many initiatives to take it as a global automobile industry, in the global industry. And by the end of 2026, it is also projecting that the automobile industry will be at top. So the objective and purpose of the study is first to identify the components of Indian automobile industry, second to see the growth of these components over the period, and the third one is to understand the relationship of components of the sample automobile companies over the period of time. The research methodology is that sample of 11 leading automobile companies have been chosen, which are listed under BSc and MSc. Secondly, the capital which has been taken as of 10 years post the financial crisis of 2008-9, that is from 2009-10 to 2018-19, and the later 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they were actually neglected, reason being the manipulated results. The statistical research techniques are descriptive research and sales of components and another. So these are 4 hypotheses. So we have built 4 components. We are studying 4 components separately: equity, reserves and surplus, long-term debt, and total current liabilities. Therefore, 4 hypotheses have been assumed for the study. The descriptive statistics along with the CAGR results shows that in the equity component, the overall industry projects 4.44% growth over these 10 years. The highest growth has been experienced by Ashok Leyland Limited in the equity component. That means Ashok Leyland Limited is increasing their reliance on equity funds gradually. Apart from that, Mahindra and TVS also experienced an increasing growth in the equity component. Further, if we see the mean value, Tata Motor Limited has the highest mean value, and since its coefficient of variance is 5.22% only, that means it shows relatively less fluctuations and it has shown a consistent reliance on the equity funds. Coming to the reserve and surplus component, the maximum growth has been seen by HR Motors Limited, and the minimum growth was shown by Tata Motors Limited. That means the overall industry is showing 13.25% growth of reserves and surplus. Further, the highest mean value has been experienced by the Maruti Suzuki India Limited, and it shows that overall the industry is growing its reserves and surplus as comparative to the equity component. Equity component was showing only 4.4% growth, horizontal to 13.5% growth. Now, if we see the long-term debt, we can see that the industry's long-term debt was growing 4.67%. The closest representative was found Tata Motors. Apart from that, we can also see some negative growth rate. That means companies are showing less reliance on total debts, and they are taking less debt, and they are taking more internal funds rather than going for the external funds. Apart from that, Tata Motors has shown the highest mean contribution of 176,000 millions. The total current liabilities shows that Kitchen Motor Limited is one which shows the maximum growth of total current liabilities. That means this company is not taking long-term debt, but it is going for the short-term debt with equal to and consistently. And the automobile industry's growth was at 6.8%, and the Suzuki Limited was the most representative of the industry. The maximum mean contribution was again experienced by the Tata Motors Limited, and there was again some negative growth highlighted by Hero Motor Company Limited, Corporation Limited, which shows that yes, there are companies which shows less reliance on total current liabilities, but they are very few.
Oh well, Madhu.
Yes, sir.
You have got only 2 minutes left. So,
Okay, no issue, sir. So when we talk about ANOVA result to check whether the component of capital structure are similar in the selected sample companies or not over the period of time. So it was found that these components are actually very significantly different among these selected companies, and therefore the hypothesis was rejected. So the conclusion was that there are not two components, but there are 4 components of capital structure which has been disclosed by the study. And this study has segregated the equity share capital and reserves and surplus. So it actually shows that the companies are mounting confidence on reserves and surplus, since it is going up at the rate of 46%, followed by total current liabilities are having the growth of 23%. Where the left was shown on equity capital and debt capital, and hence the study concludes that the major 2 components are reserves and surplus and total current liability in the automobile industry. And if we see overall components, then long-term debt, there are 4 overall components. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are a research scholar or you have completed your PhD?
I'm the research scholar, sir.
Okay. So, my observation is that you have, from your presentation, I have understood you have shown only the trend and growth of your equity and debt components of the companies, of sample companies of your study.
Yes, sir.
My one question, there are 2 questions. First one is that, did you get the answer of your topic? What is the answer to your topic?
Whether there are only 2 components of capital structure, or there are more, and whether they are 2 major components or there are some other components.
No. Your topic is do only debt and equity. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do only debt and equity frame the capital structure of the company. Is your topic?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think you are yourself asking a question. And did you get the answer to this question? I have not found that answer to your question of your topic. Because you have shown only the trend and growth of the different components of equity and debt. It's only the over the period, you have shown only the growth this much, that much, and that mean, and then, okay. But I have not found the answer of your question. And I'm not being able to understand actually from this what you want to find out actually. Can you just make it clear?
So, I mentioned few of the studies in this PPT, but since I'm already doing research on this particular topic, and this is just the initial part of that research, I want to highlight few of the studies which have mentioned that the total current liabilities which are actually the short-term debt, which have been studies
You are not getting my point. Maybe you are starting, okay, I understood your stage of your research.
Yes.
You have gone through the literacy review, you have done a critical study of all the literacy reviews related to automobile company, okay? My thing is that I think why I have asked you that question, because I think you should rethink on your topic. I don't know whether your topic has been finally registered or not, I don't know. If it is not finally registered, please give a second thought on the topic.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Because your topic and your
acceptance in our country. Next slide. So as you can see, this is again, this is a vision of what the AMFI website is there, and they have target that in coming few years, they have approximately the investors will be 100 times more. Okay, so they have a target from 2019 to reach till here. So they are expecting that because of the growing population of India and because the mutual funds, which can be started for just 500 rupees, we are expecting the investment and the investors are more to join, and the number of folios will increase certainly 100 times. So this is a target which is the AMFI website has put in front. Next slide. And sir, if we now compare the problem which our country is facing and why we are not picking up in terms of mutual funds, is that the basic, the majority of the mutual funds come from the top cities. I will say the top 30 cities. It's Mumbai, it's Delhi, Hyderabad. So there are many cities, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and other B30 cities where the mutual fund contribution is very less. So government has to pay attention to these areas because these are the areas from where we can target and we can achieve that 100% growth level in the mutual fund. These are the people from the B30 cities who have to contribute to achieve the target of the mutual funds in India. So this was, this has actually depicted the picture in how, I will not say poor, but how mutual fund is still not well penetrated in Indian economy. Now you can see here also it's just a depiction of how Indian economy has still not very well accepted mutual funds, though it has started with just 500 rupees, though the government has also very well marketed it, but still the acceptance of mutual fund is not there. It's still towards the safer securities like FDs and RDs. So government has actually to, not just government but also the private sectors have to explore the B30 cities to expand the mutual fund market. Because other metropolitan cities have already reached at the saturation level. So these areas have to be, next slide. So this is another glance, and this is again from the AMFI website. And see, this is the contribution of Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, Kolkata, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Hyderabad, Baroda and Jaipur. You can see from 30%, Jaipur has reached to 0.76%. Imagine the cities like Indore, Sagar, Ratnam, they will be probably less than 0.1, something like that. So this is the contribution of mutual fund in our economy, in our GDP. Right? So Mumbai has the highest, then comes Delhi and Bangalore. So these are the cities that are contributing more to the mutual funds. And we expect that, seeing the population of the country, and we expect the number of, youth in our country, and the with minimum investment of 500 rupees, we have a larger market to explore in mutual fund. It is an untrapped market which can be trapped by the government by using some very marketing strategies
which is acceptable to our Indian population.
But do you not feel that it will also be affected by the average income of those cities?
Of course, sir. Average income is always a factor.
Average income ratio.
Of course, average income is always a factor, but comes the education level. When I talk about the average income, again the mutual fund industry is countering it because the investment starts from only just 500 rupees. And people are ready to invest in it starts from 10,000, but not in mutual fund, it starts from 500 rupees. We are planning, government is trying to grab this market, but education level is because of course market involves uncertainty and volatility, and mutual fund, as the government always have in its propaganda, and mutual fund is subjected to market risk.
You mentioned about education level.
Pardon? What?
You mentioned about education level.
Yeah.
Education. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you check the literacy of those cities?
So this is a bibliometric analysis. This is not
That's
the,
I am saying.
Yeah, this is not the primary data collection. This is based on secondary data collection.
Okay.
That will further go on.
Literacy rate also you can check secondary data.
Yes, of course.
Did you check this one, this variation? I am asking about variation part.
I'm assuming, sir, of course, when you go down in the B30 cities, per capita income will be certainly less as compared to Mumbai and Delhi. I think that is, I'm sure.
Okay, I'll come to the finish.
Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Financial innovation. So basically, my topic was to link mutual funds with the financial innovation. I am coming to the point. I started with the mutual fund sector, but I am trying to connect financial innovation to the mutual fund sector. So what does financial innovation is? Financial innovation represents something new in terms of cost, in terms of risk, or it provides new product and service instrument that provides better, actually gives satisfy the demands of the customers. Okay, next slide. Okay, so my research has gapped. There is plentiful research which is available on internet regarding mobile banking, internet banking. But however, when I see to the areas which is subset mutual funds, and implication of financial innovation in mutual fund, I am not able to find much of the papers. So when I try to connect mutual fund and financial innovation in respect to our country, the papers are very less. And so this is my gap, and that is why I am presenting this paper. Next slide. So my objective of the study is first to seek some of the questions like what is the current state of research on innovation in financial services in India. So I have come to the conclusion after seeing the bibliometric analysis and all, going through the Scopus database, that financial innovation in terms of the mutual fund industry, the research is not well done. There are only few papers that has been done, and had the papers are there, they are only based on the primary study. Secondary study papers are very less, and when they are doing the primary study, they are only targeting some mobile, app, how the people has adopted technology. But when I talk about the innovation in mutual fund industry, these two terms have not been blended in our Indian research till date. Okay. What are the areas that have been received the less attention? When I talk about the financial innovation is a very broad topic. And now here I am trying to connect financial innovation to the mutual fund industry. So I want to see what are the terms, what are the new terms or buzzwords which are coming in the mutual fund industry in terms of the financial innovation. Next slide. So sir, when I try to retrieve the paper from the, I have actually applied this PRISMA approach. The full form is Preferred Reporting Item for Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis, PRISMA. And I have taken the database from the Scopus website. Okay, so when I first drilled it using financial innovation, it came as 2,100. When I came down to reducing it in combination with financial markets, it came to 932. When I tried to remove the duplicate file, it came again 922. And after putting the word mutual fund in it, it came to 250. So financial innovation and mutual fund actually are very less being studied. And this papers is actually across the world. I'm not saying just in India. India still have not done much of the research in financial innovation and mutual fund. Next slide. So sir, when I tried to use this WAS viewer, this was the picture that it gave me using the financial innovation.
There are certain terms, of course, it's not been very, but terms like cryptocurrency, debts are there, and financial market, bankings are there. So what this picture is trying to tell us, sir, these are the keywords. If you are trying to do financial innovation, these are the keywords that has to be addressed if you are trying to address the financial innovation. If you are trying to address financial innovation in mutual fund industry, you need to address these things. Some way or the other, these things are related. Like cryptocurrency might not be related in our system of economy, but yes, for other countries who have accepted cryptocurrency might be related. Like there are other things also. So these are the buzzwords, these are the keywords around which the financial innovation is evolving, and most of the papers have used these keywords. So there's something very specific about these keywords, and if we want to know much about the financial innovation, these keywords have to be explored. Like there is securitization, there is agreement, there is global financial crisis. So these keywords are being repeatedly used in the research papers. Next slide. Again, sir, there is some close citations of the authors who have cited financial innovation with these research papers. Many of the authors have co-cited their papers. So this is the work co-citation. Please, next slide. Again, sir, when I try to put financial innovation in terms of any country, name any country which is more working on the financial innovation, I came of the country like China. There was country China, there was Europe, I think there was some US country also was there. So these are the countries when we are talking about financial innovation, these are the countries that are more talked about. There were nowhere that our country was being mentioned in any of the research papers, but I came across China, Europe was there, US was there. So these are the countries which are most of the time they are being used in the financial innovation papers. Next slide. So now, sir, I have tried to categorize some of the indicators and categories of the financial innovation. So I have concluded that innovative culture is very important. Innovative strategy, knowledge, laws and regulation. These are some of the areas, broad areas, not very specific areas. These are some of the broad areas which our Indian mutual fund industry, if they implement, it is quite possible that then we can achieve the target of expanding the mutual fund industry. And this mutual fund industry has a very high growth prospect. And with a growing population, certainly it can contribute towards a great level towards the economy. And if these certain categories are being addressed, I'm pretty sure financial innovation in mutual fund industry is possible. Okay, next slide. There is market, networks and environment. In market, when we talk about market penetration, customer portfolio, commercialization, analyzation of the market requirement at the local level. Mutual fund has to be addressed at the local level because the demand of the people at the local level, India being a diverse country, differs. So we need to address the demand of the local level people, and then only the penetration of the mutual fund industry is very much possible. Networks, it is connection to the local people. So in the market, when we talk about penetration of mutual fund and financial innovation, it is very important to build the connection with the local people, to build up their trust in the mutual fund industries. Since for them it is a word which, new word to them. So education level, awareness level, government has to come into the picture.
If I invest in the gold, if I invest in the land, I know what is the risk factor. But if I invest in the mutual fund, I don't know what is the risk factor. And if I quantify that, then I can say that I will accept this. By paying to the agent, now people are going and investing in the gold. Is it anybody is paying something to some agents? People are going that sense, no?
So agent in the sense that because awareness of mutual fund is
see, awareness?
So
who has told them the gold is giving the more return? If you just compare gold from the last 50 years in comparison to the other products, your thought process will be different. You must have a
gold is very ancient thing. This is a financial. This is a very new term for people.
You see, everything can be quantified, but you are not able to touch that how and why. There will be some other reasons also. You see, in mutual fund proposition or mutual fund definition or mutual fund output, if they have done innovation there, for example, if, let me add one thing. If in a mutual fund they add the year insurance, probably I am interested because some insurance is there, so I will think that something is covered. So why don't we do the innovation of that type which gives you some types of guarantee or with some types of new addition to the user? That makes some sense.
Yes.
Otherwise, by saying that give concession to them, linking to them, these are hypothetical things and not the scientific things to bring the conclusion. So I wish that you should bring those scientific conclusions. For example, the simple thing. If you are doing the Bombay or the Jaipur comparison, you will just see the income level, just see the people profile, and just see that there is land in the Rajasthan and compared to land in Maharashtra. Rate is quite different. Here in Delhi, one flat is coming 1 crore rupees, but in Rajasthan, one flat, the same 2-bedroom, I can get 40 lakh rupees. So investment. If I buy an industrial plot, a regular industrial plot, in place of buying this mutual fund, that will give you the more dividend. So why should I do that? So you have to think from both dimensions, then come out what is the mentality of Indians or what is the mentality of investor and why they are doing like this. If you understand that philosophy, then the result will become more powerful.
Yes, surely I agree.
The big professor want to tell you that work on the behavioral finance.
Yes.
Yeah. So my part is on that only. This is just a part of the research that I have.
But you have to quantify that.
Yeah, my research is on the primary data.
You have to find the biases. What are the biases are there in that you have to study.
I will study the
That's what
primary
he is telling you very, what do you say, explaining financial term. Because it is completely as a behavioral finance. You have to work a lot behind the movement, random walks and all these things you have to see in this.
You see the difference between the Rantu of Reserve Bank of India, what he thinks about demonetization and what the other now Reserve Bank of India, but they are thinking both are highly qualified, highly researched, but what is the basis of both of them? But net result, what is the output of that demonetization? That shows what who is understanding, what is they delivering. Understand? Very good.
I think she will work on it.
She will work on it. She has to know work on it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to call for Ram sir to please give vote of thanks. Sir, yes,
Respected Chairman, respected Chairman Sir, Vice Chairman Sir, Dean Academics, and my dear fellow colleagues. It's a wonderful day we had from the morning. We met different types of intellectuals. Right now, I am very satisfied with the way the performance has gone down when Shankar Tapaji has asked so many questions from the researcher. It shows his caliber to analyze a person basically. We must take it in a positive way, and we should, as soon as say that a researcher, even I call myself as a researcher, I don't call myself a professor. I work behind the researcher, what they have done it, I used to see those things and I develop in my study also. This is where the knowledge increases. You have to develop your knowledge. If somebody gives you, let's say, some ideas, try to inculcate that in your research. So take it in a friendly manner, in an easy manner. Writing the paper is very easy, but convincing through the paper is very difficult. Anybody will write the paper. Nowadays there are so many apps are there, so many devices are there through which you will get the values and everything all the time. But the way you are going to convince, that is going to play a very important role in your researches. So with this note, I would like to thank our, Professor Maitri sir, for contributing a lot in the finance, being engineering person. So it's wonderful to see that we have very less number of faculty at this time. So I would like to thank everyone for participating in this conference, and I welcome in near future you must come and participate more and more in this type of conferences. Thank you very much.
Sir, I would like to ask you to please present Sir this afternoon.
I'll come there. Please. I'll take a photo. Sir, please. Please.
फोटो आप लोग और सब लोग
हाँ तो
एक ग्रुप फोटो लेने के बाद ग्रुप फोटो ले ले।
प्लीज
दोनों फोटो ले ले।
संजय सर
आइए सारे रिसर्चर्स प्लीज कम
आइए
प्लीज एवरीवन विल हैव नेक्स्ट ग्रुप
जीपीएस लोगे?
नहीं, ये तो वीडियो बन
Thank you.
चलो